And good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's broadcast here, the final round of the VSCRA National Premier Series, live from the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway, live tonight on STN. Thank you very much for watching live on the YouTube and on the Twitch, wherever you may be watching. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Sean Butler, being joined alongside Jarrett Mackey in the booth tonight, calling the action. Zach Johnson pushing the buttons for us in the truck this evening. And you're seeing the drivers slowly wrapping up qualifying as we are getting ready to set the field for the final race of the season tonight. And Jarrett, I got to go to you for this. So give us some analysis if you can. So what do you think we can expect out of these guys tonight, fighting for a championship? Two drivers with a chance to take it all home tonight. So what do you think their strategies are for taking the race tonight?
Well, right now, Brian Mercurio is 16 points behind Jake Fisher. Looks like they're going to be starting second for Brian, and 10th for Jake Fisher. So I think Jake, might be a little bit more conservative, just trying to get to the end with a clean race car. And Brian has to be aggressive, get the most amount of points he can tonight to try to close that gap.
Absolutely. So it's going to be one of those attrition races here at Homestead Miami Speedway, as we see. Going to be a usual tight race. Got some great drivers in the field here tonight. They just set the field. So let's go over the starting grid, shall we, for tonight's race. Starting on the front row, we got Liam Sheen starting on the pole. Brian Mercurio to his outside in the 41. Row number 2 sees Nick Sanchez, Chase Alvey in the outside of row 2. Row number 3, Brad Perez, Nick Silver in that number 9 car, J.D. Laird, Aaron Mulrooney Jr. in the 04 for tonight's race. They will start in that row. Going a little bit further down the line, Will Rogers in the 69 will roll off 9th. Jake Fisher rolling off 10th this evening. Our other championship contender, championship leader, the chance to take it all home tonight. Elliot Henderson, Preston Pardis starting 11th and 12th. Leighton Sabile, Austin Drake rounding out row number 7. Daniel Nanny starting at 15th, and Joey Stone 16th. Ryan Vargas 17th. Brandon Bukowski 18th. Chad Michaels 19th, and Gabe Herschel round out the top 20 here, Jarrett.
Yeah, for sure. You got Tristan Hagenstein 21st, the 27 car. Eric Kemp in the 63 car, Jonathan Taylor starting off 23rd, and Austin Moore starting 24th in the 24 car.
Caleb Morrissey starting 25th. Kyle Riley in the 62, rolling off 26th. Peter Acumano starting 27th. Chris Heller in the number 11 tonight, rolling off 28th. And rounding out the qualifiers tonight, the slowest one, unfortunately, John Palmieri rolling off in 29th. And we got provisional starters, Donovan Strauss, Justin Lisenby, Michael Frisch, Josh Parker, Andrew Schwartz, Jonathan Bell, Timmy Pacioli, Keith Sherman, Warren Rosario, Arnold Columbia, and William Barbagalata rolling off 39th on the field. Full field here tonight at Homestead. Should be a great race this evening. Field slowly rolling out of the pit lane, getting set for one parade lap around this track, and then we'll turn them loose for 117 laps tonight. So, Jarrett, do you have any picks you're thinking you got your eyes on this evening?
It's hard, it's hard not to go for the championship leader right now, Jake Fisher. I mean, he's been consistent all season, and starting 10th, it's a long race. He'll have time to work his way up. But I will say at the start, some of those drivers who didn't qualify, there's some really, really strong sim racers in those lists. I mean, Michael Frisch, Andrew Schwartz, Timmy Pacioli, those guys are going to be hard charging from the start, and it'll be really interesting to watch. Definitely
going to be a great race to watch, see which lines are going to be working, who's going to be finding grip where. And if you're familiar with Homestead on iRacing, these things can go any direction, especially with the amount of aggression these guys are going to show tonight. So pace car works its way into turn number 3. We're getting ready to get racing, like I said, for 117 laps to decide a champion tonight in VSCRA. Again, thank you very much for joining us. Wherever you may be watching, STN's YouTube, STN on Twitch. Pace car getting ready to duck in. We're ready to get going here for tonight. Pace car is off. Liam Sheen, Brian Mercurio leading down. Liam not wasting any time. He's going to take the field to the green flag. Mercurio will roll into the second spot, and they're already wrecking. Nick Sanchez gets turned on the front stretch, and he just gets hit by another car. Couldn't tell who that was, but didn't even make it to turn 1. We already got a caution here, Jarrett.
Yeah, that happened right in front of the championship leader, Jake Fisher, but he was able to just sneak by there on the inside and avoid any contact to his car, so that's a lucky break for him there. But, yeah, not even making it to turn 1 yet. We already have a caution.
Pace car didn't even get a chance to stop on pit road, so it's going to come right back out and collect the field. We're going to work on a replay here for you, as it looks like they were just fighting for real estate on the front straightaway and just running out of space. There you see Sanchez in the 96. looks like he just runs up on Chase Alvey in the 66, and it's on from there. Good job avoiding by everybody, but looks like he got hit, I believe. That's Daniel Nene in the 30 car. So not a good start for those two drivers. The 30 doesn't appear to have too much damage, but if you've got enough experience here running these cars at Homestead, especially in the B-Fix series this week, you know, a little tiny bit of damage at this place can spell aero trouble for the rest of your race and make it that much more difficult to make passes or even keep up with everybody. So working caution number 1 here. The field is slowly coming off of turn number 4 as the pace car will collect the field. And so Jarrett, not even getting a chance to see how these things will do in the corners. We're under caution on the front stretch early.
Yeah, that was bizarre. I really don't think Chase Elliott did anything wrong there. He was as high as he could be, and the 96 just turned right across his nose. But, you know, we'll see if this can be one of those races, you know, that just has caution after caution. But I think once these guys get a few laps under their belt, things will settle down quite a bit.
Absolutely. A lot of talent in this field tonight. You got to think as soon as these guys get these things wound up and settled down, it's going to have a lot of green flag runs here where pit strategy is going to be the name of the game tonight. So going over our championship contenders here now that we have a little bit of time under caution. So point leader Jake Fisher and Brian Mercurio, really the only two guys with a shot at this thing. Brian Mercurio needs to gain 16 points on Jacob Fisher to get it done tonight. And third place, Timmy Pacioli, not mathematically out of it. A lot of things have to go his way for him to have a shot. But realistically, it's just going to be between Jake and Brian tonight.
Yeah, you know, Brian Mercurio is a great guy, but, you know, he was looking in his rear view when he saw that crash. It was kind of probably had his fingers crossed that Jake Fisher might get involved in that one this early on in the race.
Yeah, definitely a big scare early as well for Jake, as you mentioned there at the start. Could have easily seen his championship hopes go up in smoke right there. So dodged a bullet early, so he's going to see if he needs to dodge any more to keep his chances alive here. Had one driver on pit road. I believe I saw Leighton Sibilia on pit road. So a couple drivers elected to come down pit road. Chase Alvey in the 66 was one of those drivers. Again, we mentioned Leighton Sibilia. Got a couple guys down there now. The 30 of Dan Nene was on there getting his damage fixed. Looking down the list, Austin Drake in the 74 coming off of pit road. He's got some front and rear end damage in that 74 car. So a lot of casualties early on in the race to get this thing started. Going to be a long way up for those guys.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Alvey had some damage, you know, on the left from the 96 car coming into him and from the right side when he was kind of being forced up into the wall. So probably get smart, you know, 115 laps still to go here and just, you know, make sure the damage is mitigated at this point.
Absolutely. Got to make Zach work a little bit more. The 90 of Preston Pardis with a considerable amount of damage on his car. Got some left side damage, left front damage, and looks like he's backed into a pole or something with the rear end of that car. So going to be interesting to see how these guys manage that damage and see if they can will their way back up to the front. But we'll get a little bit of a running order rundown, if you will, so far. So Liam Sheen started on the pole, went about 200 feet and caught a caution, so he didn't get past. Brian Mercurio still running in second, as we mentioned, running second in the points as well. So he's in a great spot to kind of overtake Jake Fisher and hopefully get this championship. Nick Silver running in third, Aaron Mulrooney fourth, Brad Perez being shown in fifth, J.D. Laird being shown in sixth, Jake Fisher seventh, Will Rogers eighth, Ryan Vargas ninth, and Joey Stone will round out the top 10, as I believe the field just got the one to go signal, Jarrett.
Yeah, we will see. There's two cars right now in front of the leaders, so we'll see if they stay up there. I guess they're beginning to be waved around now.
It's the 20 of Peter Akimano and the 11 of Chris Heller, as they've delayed the green for that purpose to let these guys get caught up. So we're going to go one more caution lap double file as the field makes their way down the back straightaway. So again, big odds tonight for these guys. The top two in the points, like we say, the only ones with a realistic chance to win this championship. So we saw how quick it can change in an instant at the start of this race, especially for our points leaders. Go over the track weather here, as you can see on the bottom left of your screen. Fairly, I guess, fairly warm tonight here in southern Florida. 84-degree air temp, 85 degrees track temperature. Fairly windy, though. Tropical storm Edo making its way off the coast there near the top of Florida, though. 19 degrees southeast winds and 85% humidity. And I can attest for Florida, typical humid night here in Florida. We're used to that. So getting the official 1 to go signal now as the field crosses the line. And we're going to re-rack them up and try again in this next restart here.
Yeah, hopefully, these drivers are going to be hoping they can get maybe through one corner, maybe two before the next caution flag comes out. But I think they'll settle down here a little bit. And honestly, a few drivers have already backed out or fallen off the point to where they won't be competitive. So, maybe less cars, less trouble. Who knows? We'll see.
We'll see. So Elliott made a big deal on that. He doesn't want to see a lot of cautions. He was giving everyone the pre-race speech and made it a big point to say, let's keep this thing green. Let's keep the cautions to a minimum. And I got to say, with a lot of confidence, he probably didn't like having a caution on the first 200 feet of the race. So
no, I mean, and let's be honest too. These drivers don't like seeing cautions either. They want to race, they want to get this done, and they also just want to have fun. And pacing around and taking a minute and a half to do a lap's not fun. So the drivers will hopefully see that they don't want cautions either.
Yeah, absolutely not fun pacing at all, especially if you're watching a race or participating in it. And that's the last thing these guys want to do, is just pace around for 117 laps. So barely completed lap 1, so we're going to try it again here. So pace car will be ducking off. Liam Sheen in the 36, Brian Mercurio in the 41 will be leading to the green flag. Pace car ducks off, and Sheen is going to wait a little longer this time, and now he is off. Green flag is out of the wrecking again in the back. Caution is out.
And there was a little bit of a worry there when the car slowed down for the caution that might be some collateral damage.
Got to see where that was. I'm not seeing anything on track that would warrant a caution. I got to see if Zach can find anything. A lot of mass confusion in the race chat right now. A lot of drivers asking what just happened.
Could that have been an admin caution? Michael Frisch being confused as well.
Michael Frisch is not happy over the race chat right now, so we're going to see what happened there.
The guy who's loving this right now, though, is Liam Sheen. He's led every lap of this one so far.
I know. He's proven to have the dominant car in the field so far. No one's had anything for him early on in this thing. Granted, we've gone about 201 feet of green flag racing here tonight, but nonetheless, he has not been overtaken yet. It looked like, from what I can see, I don't know how long it's going to take Zach to dig this replay up. I'm trying myself to see what happened. But toward the back, they were just kind of jockeying for position back there. I didn't really see anything happen. But we're going to see if Zach can find anything, because I got nothing for this wreck. I got to be completely honest. So we're going to go over for a few more laps of caution again and hopefully finally get a chance to get some green flag laps on our belt tonight.
The chat's making me think that maybe it would have been like a wave issue or something like that. But because, I can't find a wreck either.
I don't think Zach can either. He waved the splash graphics, so I don't think he was able to find anything either. Nothing. So field coming on pit road, though. If you guys going to get some pit stops in, we got a few guys that are that have a lot of damage from that first caution coming on a pit road. I see Caleb Morrissey is in, Daniel Nanny is in, and
Caleb Morrissey has called it a night. He was disconnected from the server.
And the 30 still on pit road. He's probably going to get all of his damage fixed after that incident. So we got a few other guys coming off of pit road. Brandon Barkuski in the 48 coming off pit road. Arnold Columbia in the 39 coming off. So a lot of guys getting their damage fixed, taking the opportunity to get that done as the field works their way down the back. And hopefully we get the 1 to go signal this time by. If not, we're going to be 2 to green when the pace car crosses the line here.
Yeah, like we mentioned under that last caution, the drivers don't want to see this either. Not even Liam Sheen. I think he knows, we're not going to go 17 laps under caution. They just want to race, and I'm sure they want to get this over with too. This only prolongs the process, but hopefully this next restart goes better and we actually see maybe a corner of racing. That could be good.
Yeah, if we're not careful, this can go from a day to night to day race if we keep going with these cautions here. You never know. So pace car crosses the line. Lights are still on, so we're going to have the 2 to green signal in the air right now as the field makes their way through turn 1. Again, nothing much change running order-wise. Again, as Jarrett mentioned, Liam Sheen dominating this race so far. Has led all 8 laps that we've been completed right now. Brian Mercurio has been right there on his rear bumper the whole time, sitting in second. Nick Silver being shown in third. Aaron Mulrooney fourth. D. Laird in 5th, Brad Perez 6th, Will Rogers 7th, Jake Fisher 8th, I should say, Ryan Vargas 9th, and Joey Stone is going to round out the top 10 here. So field making the way down the back. Going to be honest, got to be hard to talk about a lot of things when you have two really quick cautions to start this thing out. But I guess we can go back to the championship here, Jared. I mean, again, two guys, two different ways to get it. All Jake Fisher really has to do is beat Brian Mercurio tonight. But Brian Mercurio, as we've mentioned, as we were talking about it before the race, recently got his pro license, will be in the eNASCAR iRacing Pro Series coming up in in about a little under a week. So he's definitely no slouch, as everyone's been watching all season. So it's going to be interesting to see what Jake will do to get ahead of Brian as the field comes to the one to go here now.
Yeah, Brian knows Jake. They've raced with each other forever. They race with each other very often. He knows he's a good competitor. I think Jake will race him clean. Brian will race him clean. I think at the end of the day, whoever wins the championship will have deserved it. I think it'll come down towards the end. But I think we'll see a good race. And, to be this close at this point of the season is really impressive.
Absolutely. So 16 points separating first and second. Shows you just how evenly matched these guys have been throughout the season. So we see Brian Mercurio. He's the first car in the outside lane. Blue car with the white hood right there coming by that 41. Brian Mercurio right there sitting in second. Jake Fisher got to go a little bit further back to him. Currently sitting in the 8th position in the 84 car right there. There you see him. Started 10th, gained a spot somehow in that first 210 feet we've raced so far. That's very impressive. So field making their way through 3 and 4. Going to try it again. Let's see if we can make it to corner number 1 and get some green flag racing in to decide this championship. Again, Sheen, Mercurio, Silver, Mulrooney, Laird, your top 5. Brad Perez just outside of the top 5 in that 38 car. Looks just like his Miata that he races in real life. So very, very beautiful job on that car. Pace car is off. We're going back to racing. Sheen is on it. And here we go. Let's see if we can make it a lap here at Homestead.
The third time these 3 quick restarts that Sheen has gotten a great jump. And this time it looks like they'll make it to turn 1.
Finally. So a lot of racing so far in this run. You got to go a little bit further back, though. These guys are all over each other towards the back of the field. We're going to try and make it easy on Zach because there's going to be a lot of action happening. So as you can see, a lot of 2 and 3 wide racing happening back there as they are side by side going into turn number 3. The first battle I can see on the track right now is between Aaron Mulrooney and the 9 of Nick Silver as they head down the front stretch. Silver is able to get clear. There you see Brad Perez in that 38 car trying to dive underneath Mulrooney. This is the battle for 4th. And we got a battle for the lead just ahead as Mercurio looks to the inside of Liam Sheen.
There was a wreck on the front stretch. So the driver was able to get off track and, kind of get towed to the pits before the caution came out. There was 3 or 4 cars back there. But yeah, Brian Mercurio wanted to make the move to the inside of Liam Sheen.
Still fighting the inside line here. Again, 2 distinct lines you can run here at Homestead, but it's all about saving tires at this track. Tire conservation is so important, especially here, as these guys have 5 sets of tires here, so that's including the set they're on. So they have a lot of tires at their disposal as we see Brian Mercurio taking the lead, and that is not what Jake Fisher wants to see.
Brian Mercurio absolutely flew by Liam Sheen there like he was standing still. Now opens up a 2-car length advantage as they head down to the turn number 3.
Mostly single file here as we look through the field. They got to go back. Donnie Strauss in the 45 car is the first car battling right now with somebody. He's alongside Austin Moore in the 24, makes that pass very easily, move him up to 14th, and he's not going to waste any time looking underneath the 20 of Peter Akimano for 13th, and Donovan Strauss, another pro driver in this field tonight. He's going to be racing in the Pro Series. He's looking to make his mark on this race tonight as well.
Back there in 4th place, you have Brad Perez. This is his home racetrack, and he's doing very well so far. The 2 people in front of him, 2nd and 3rd, side by side. That's what he loves to see. Started 5th up to 4th. He'll be feeling optimistic about this one.
And we see Brad Perez going forward. One guy we see going backwards is our pole sitter, Liam Sheen. Now, you got to think, as I mentioned earlier, tire conservation is so important here at Homestead. I got to think what he's trying to do is not helping that. He's trying to run the high side when the best way to save tires, according to everybody, is running towards that low line. So going to be interesting to see where Liam's tires sit at the end of this run. Right now, he started on the pole, falling back to 3rd, and he's got Brad Perez and Aaron Mulrooney all over his rear bumper going into 4th.
He also was about 0.2 faster in qualifying, which, a lot of iRacing qualifying, you'll see a couple hundredths, all that. But 0.2, I mean, he was faster than these guys. So the fact that he's falling back, I agree. I don't think it's on speed. I think he's trying to save something for later in the race.
Always looking ahead is riding on board with Brad Perez in the 38, running alongside Aaron Mulrooney So it's looking like, well, he gets a little loose there as he works his way through 1 and 2, and you're going to see a lot of these guys fighting those handling conditions, especially here. So if this run goes as long as it should, it's going to be a battle of who can keep their car straight the best. And look at this, 3 wide here. Brad Perez looking to the inside of Liam Sheen, Mulroney looking to the inside of both of them, and they kind of clear it out, go double wide down the front, and they're right back to where they started going into turn 1 last lap.
And as you mentioned, the Brad Perez livery is designed after his Mazda NB Miata that he races in the SCCA Spec Miata class. So he's no stranger to 3 wide, especially the other week at the runoffs where he did an incredible job in his first ever SCCA runoffs.
Absolutely. So again, these guys still fighting it out single file and double file towards the front. Trying to look further on towards the back. Not very many battles going on behind these guys as they're still trying to go 3 wide again, almost 4 wide as they come off the corner. So we're going to stick with the up front guys for now because this is the most entertaining battle right now. We got Will Rogers in the 55 joining this battle right here. So we got 2x2 for third on back pretty much. And these guys, look at Brad Perez running the wall as they head through 1 and 2.
And sitting behind this little group of 5 is the points leader, Jake Fisher. He can see Brian Mercury up there. He can see Nick Silver up there. And he can see these guys in front of him racing like, you know, there's 20 to go. But he knows there's still 100 laps to go in this one. So he's taking his time, not trying to get too involved.
So we saw Brad Perez running towards the top on the last lap. Now he works his way towards the bottom of the racetrack, trying to see if there's any grip down there. But Aaron Mulrooney in the 04 in that Bosch Toyota TRD Supra has the momentum on the high line, and they might not be done going 3 wide. That's Perez, and again on the very bottom, Mulrooney looking in the middle, doesn't quite have it. But Liam Sheen, with all the momentum off the corner, he's able to keep third for now, as Nick Silver and Brian Mercurio are driving away from these guys.
Yeah, they're loving what they're seeing in the rear view, especially Nick Silver. You know, he's able to pull away from these guys who are going 2-3 wide as they're having to drive it hard. And also, these people, you know, this is not a way to conserve tires. So these people will be a little bit in trouble here if they don't get another caution or so before green flag pit stops.
Almost a bit of contact there between Mulrooney and Perez, and here comes Will Rogers again looking to make his presence felt in this battle. They're still 3 wide as they head off the corner. These guys are going to be feeling this later with their tire wear, but man, it's entertaining to watch right now as these guys giving everyone a show as they head into turn 3, still 3 wide as Will Rogers joins the battle.
And this just shows how good all these guys are to race this close, you know, for this long, this consistently, and not cause any problems. They're almost 4 wide coming off of turn 4.
Jarrett Mackey, I'm telling you, man, this is getting interesting. Liam Sheen almost hits the wall coming off of 4. Will Rogers with a great heads-up move to kind of back off to rent from right, hooking him there. And we keep going here as it looks like they're going to get this thing settled down. So maybe now we can look elsewhere and see what else is happening in the field. Got another little slight battle going on a little bit further back from these guys as we see Justin Lisenby taking a look underneath the 62 of Kyle Riley a little further behind these guys. Looks like Riley is going to concede the position, so move Lisenby up into 14th as Kyle Riley starts to slide back. We got a little further battle behind them as, we got one loose off of turn 4. Timmy Pacioli in the 86 nearly spun into the infield. Does a good job of gathering that car up and still going. But he might be losing a little bit more spots as now his tires are not at the optimum temperature for grip here, Jarrett.
Yeah, the rear end of that car is destroyed too. The right rear. You have to wonder if that was in one of the earlier accidents or something that happened, you know, maybe on the back stretch. But yeah, definitely did a great job saving it and not destroying his race car.
Got the 20 car right behind him. Peter Akimano has fallen back just a little bit. We mentioned he was around where the wreck was early in the race, so he's still trying as he brushes the wall off of turn 4, and he gets loose and he gets hit from behind, and he's going to spin it to the infield grass to the inside wall. He keeps it going, and now he gets hooked into the wall. And I don't think this is going to be a caution. He's still in the infield, and he is able to get that 20 car going. Still trying to make his way out of the infield. Doesn't have a rear clip anymore, so the handling is going to be affected on that for sure. But no caution. We stay green here at Homestead.
That was a situation of, you know, when it rains, it pours. He got loose. He did a great job locking the tires up so he wouldn't hit the wall too hard, and then kind of got stuck in the wall. Maybe iRacing netcode a little bit, but he's able to get it going again. And, you know, he'll resent that one for the next couple laps for sure, as the leaders are now coming up on him to put in the first car lap down.
Yep, so meanwhile, in the front of the field, everyone's still calmed down for the most part. Got a lot of single file racing. We got a battle for, I believe, is going to be 8th right now, as Donovan Strauss, we mentioned him earlier, still continuing his march through the field. He dives underneath Liam Sheen in turn 3. And right behind them, Joey Stone in the 22 Caterpillar car Looking underneath Jonathan Taylor, this is the battle for 10th, right behind the battle we just covered with Donovan Strauss, as they're racing pretty hard right now as Michael Frisch is a part of that battle in the 58.
You mentioned Donovan Strauss and Michael Frisch, excuse me. You know, Donovan Strauss started 30th, already up to 8th. Frisch started 32nd, already up to 12th. So those two guys have been flying to the front of this field. And yeah, you know, there was some wrecks at the start, but they've been flying ever since the green flag.
Looked like Taylor hit the wall in the 7 car right on the outside of Michael Frisch, so that makes the pass for Frisch easy. As Stone is now looking underneath of Taylor, so Taylor might have a little bit of right front damage, and it looks like he does. So that's definitely going to affect the straightaway speed on that car for sure, but he's able to slide up in front of Joey Stone and maintain that spot, but Joey still looking for that spot. He dives right back underneath the 7.
You know, this kind of grouping right here reminds me of what we saw the last couple of laps with the grouping in the top, 3 to 8, and it's been good racing all throughout the field, but you look at the front of the pack. Brian McKeer is able to open a 1.3 second lead on Nick Silver, and 2 more seconds back to them is Brad Perez, Mulrooney, and Fisher. So top 5 kind of calmed down, single file for now, but like I said, still a long way to go in this one.
Taylor trying to put the crossover on Joey Stone, so these guys far from done. Joey's going to let him go. Let's see if he tries to pull the cross back over on Jonathan Taylor, and here he comes with a run to the bottom. So he's going to have all the momentum coming off the corner. Right behind them, Gabe Herschel and Justin Lisenby. Lisenby in the 77, Herschel in the 07. Looking behind these guys. So 2 side-by-side battles right in front and behind each other. So it looks like the inside line is going to prevail on these as Lisenby gets to the front a little early and nearly doors Herschel. But looks like as Joey Stone gets ahead of Jonathan Taylor ahead of them, the battle still remains for 13th as Herschel has it and Lisenby wants it.
Also, while Liam Sheen's kind of falling back, he did get the bonus point for qualifying on the pole, so he'll take some solace in that if he's unable to turn around his fortunes, as he sits now in 10th, right behind this battle of Lisenby, Taylor, and Herschel.
So again, the point system in this league, the pole winner, of course, gets a point. Most laps led gets awarded a point as well. A single lap led gets you a point as well, and so is the fastest lap. And the hard charger, as we were just talking about, gets 2 points. That's the most positions gained from the start to the finish of the race. So 2 early contenders here so far in Strauss and Frisch. So let's see which one of those can pick off the most cars as they make their trek through the field. But this battle is still heating up between Joey Stone and Justin Lisenby now. So Joey's been side by side for what appears to be the last 5 laps or so, and Justin Lisenby looking to get the 11th spot from the driver of the 22.
It's nice to see green flag runs like this. After the first 2 cautions, it kind of shows drivers what they're made of. You get to kind of see who's saving, who's going for it, and this is what's interesting about these leagues and this race in particular. We knew it was coming, and it's good to see now. Absolutely.
So I think we got our cautions out of the way to start the race. I guess that's something Elliott would like to see, is if we're going to wreck, get it done early so we get some racing. So it looks like Lisenby is finally going to make the pass official on Joey Stone. So move that number 77 Valvoline Mustang into 11th, just outside the top 10, looking to run down our pole sitter Liam Sheen. So I'm looking throughout the field here. No other real battles happening. We got maybe one that's about to start heating up. Austin Moore in the 24, just behind these guys, got passed by Chase Alvey. That's the battle for 16th, I believe. Battle for 17th, I should say. As here comes Moore to the outside in that blue and a light blue 24 car. So let's see if he can make that outside line work, or is the middle going to prevail with these guys?
One thing I want to touch on as that battle kind of fizzes out is Ryan Vargas back in 29th. He started 17th, has some damage to the rear end of that car, the TikTok car. So like I said, long race. I've been saying it all race. Long race to go. He usually runs pretty well in this series, so I'm sure he'll recover and do well. Of course, finish the Xfinity Series season for JD Motorsports in the TikTok car. And hoping his fortunes turn around here with 85 laps to go in this one.
Brings that TikTok car to iRacing. Had a good run the last couple of weeks, so we're going to see if he can build on those. So looking throughout the field, it's got another battle happening a little further up front as Donnie Strauss continues his trek through the field. He just passed the 04 of Aaron Mulrooney Jr. heading into turn 3. So moved Donovan Strauss to 5th. So again, started 30th, now worked his way into the top 5 in only 33 laps. You got to take notice of that and be kind of impressed by that.
Yeah, he's been flying for sure, and find himself in fifth. I believe there's a bonus point for most spots gained, so he's probably gunning for that. The only real competition I'm being able to see so far is Michael Frisch from 32nd to 8th. So he's going for it. Still has 4 guys to go in front of him, and I wouldn't be shocked if he ran them all down.
Definitely. So I'm trying to look at the lap times here throughout the top 5. Fastest car that I can see on the track right now is still Brian Mercurio, our leader, which is not surprising. He's been pulling away since he got to the lead. Currently has a 2.5-second lead over second place Nick Silver, and then it's almost a full 2 seconds behind Silver to Brad Perez in the 38. So that's where you're looking at right now. Brad in the 38 is in third. Jake Fisher, point leader Jake Fisher, running in fourth, and then Donovan Strauss fifth. Aaron Mulrooney right behind them in sixth, and just out of your screen going into turn 3 there is JD Laird in the 23. There he is, sitting right back there in seventh. And our other hard charger of the race contender, Michael Frisch, there you see, started 32nd, currently worked his way to 8th in the top 10. So 2 very hard charging drivers, but that begs the question, Jared, what toll did it take on their tires to get where they need to be right now?
Oh, I can't even imagine that. But speaking of that, Brad Perez, that last lap got really loose off of turn 2, right in front of Jake Fisher. Jake Fisher completes that pass. But, that kind of goes back to that battle we were seeing about 15 laps ago. There was that cell of about 5 cars. We were saying at the time, that's bad for the tires. And I think Brad Perez is paying for the price for that right now.
We're going to see just who can save him the best and who drive him a little too hard and kind of wore the tires off as Perez gets a little loose off of turn number 4, riding on board with him again. Currently looking out ahead to Donovan Strauss. Right behind him, Aaron Mulrooney Jr. in that 04. So it's starting to get a little tight right here as Donovan Strauss, it looks like his tires haven't even waned at all. He's all over the back of point leader Jake Fisher as they head down the back. He might have looked to make a move going into turn 3 here, just a little bit too far back, but that 45 looking awfully strong early on.
If Brian Mercurio has his relative black box up, he's going to love seeing this. He's going to love that Jake's in traffic, having to race other people. There was slight contact there as they come off of turn number 4 between Strauss and Fisher. They were able to hold on to it there. But, Brian checking out of this one, and the battle's heating up here for third.
Definitely is. That shows you just how good that 45 is on these old tires. He's able to get to the throttle much quicker than Jake Fisher has. Nearly wrecked him off of turn number 4. That's how quick he is getting the throttle. Brad Perez tried to take advantage of the slow up by Donovan Strauss, but Donovan was having none of it, and Brad Perez might fall into the clutches of Mulrooney as they head side by side into turn number 3.
Yeah, Perez and Mulrooney couldn't separate them by much. If any one of them gets loose here, it could be catastrophe, but they hold it coming off of turn number 4. It's like Mulrooney will have the spot and clear him, actually, before they head off into 1.
Taking a look at the speeds of these guys, especially with the worn tires. We have one pitting a little bit further in the back. Timmy Pacioli, 4-wheel slides going into the pit lane in the 86 car. So we got to see if he's able to get that thing slowed up. But he is the first driver to come in during green flag conditions to get a new set of tires. So a little bit of a strategy being employed by the 86. We're going to see where he ends up, as now we're looking at JD Laird and Michael Frisch. This is going to be the battle for 7th. Laird in the 23, Frisch in the 58. Running just behind Brad Perez and Aaron Mulrooney. So these guys are looking to see how long they can stretch their tires, but Timmy might have a good strategy of just trying to get out there on the fresh tires and maybe make up some ground on these guys, still trying to keep the handling of these things.
Yeah, in all race, you talked about the front 2 and point, Jacob Fisher, Brian Mercurio, but sitting in 3rd place is Timmy, and 3rd through 5th is very close. So, if Timmy has a bad run, Elliot Henderson could overtake him, maybe. I'm not sure if Kyle Riley's in this one, but he could overtake him perhaps. Chad Mikos could probably overtake. So Timmy, wants to have a good point today to try to shore up that 3rd place points finish.
So Timmy is now back on the track. He's being shown in the 32nd position, 1 lap down. So we're going to see if that prompts any of these guys to act on that and see if they can get even with Timmy in terms of tires. But looks like Timmy is the only driver to bring it down pit road this early. And we see drivers now, we see them going like 150, 160 through the corners early in the race. I'm looking at speeds now. They're getting all the way down to the mid 120s. So that just shows how much these tires are wearing out. So it's going to be interesting to see when and how these guys bring in a pit road, because you never know what the tires are going to do with these things as the race goes on.
For sure. And something to note, Chase Alvey, he was involved in that first caution, has disconnected. Unfortunate, he started very well, started in 4th, and he's called it a night here. And looks like he'll finish 36th in this one, pending any changes.
Unfortunate for that. Had a good run going, but back in the front here, there's Brian Mercurio just picking him up and putting him down so far. So there you see, he just put the 48 of Brandon Barkuski a lap down. So he is just mowing the back of the field down. So he has lapped all the way up to 30th, and he's got Arnold Columbia just in his sights. So he's not done lapping these guys just yet.
No, and he's not only doing that, he's also pulling away Nick Silver's, open a 3-second gap to him. And, you know, Brian's cruising right now. You know, he knew what he had to do coming into this one, and he's trying to do the most he can. It's really reminiscent to me of the Tony Stewart championship in 2011 in real-life NASCAR, where he had to come into Homestead, he had to perform, and so far, Brian's doing it.
Homestead usually brings out the best in these guys, especially when it's all on the line. We saw another Jimmy Johnson coming all the way from the back of the field to win the race and the championship. So really the championship race brings the best out of these guys, and Brian Mercurio is in the Pro Series for a reason, flexing his muscle early on in this thing, but he's still got a long way to go to determine this race. But Brian looking very strong early. Still looking a little bit further down the order here. Donovan Strauss worked his way up to third, a little bit behind these guys. So it's very interesting to see where these guys are going to be tires-wise. Welcome back, Jarrett.
I appreciate that.
As the run still goes on. So we're going to keep tabs on where Timmy is. So Timmy, just compare lap times. Leader Brian Mercurio ran a 35.068 his last lap. Timmy Pacioli last lap on fresher tires ran a 33.679. So it shows you just how much time you can gain on new tires. So, but I think Timmy might be a little too far back to maybe make up some decent ground on the leaders. We're going to see when this all shakes out. Still no signs of anyone coming onto pit road, as Brian Mercurio still lapping people. Just lapped the 63 of Eric Kepf. Ryan Vargas also just went a lap down. So it's, as Eric Kepf has just unlapped himself, excuse me, he was one of the few ones that did pit as well. So it's going to take a lot to see who can take down Mercurio.
Yeah, I mean, this is what the drivers behind him will have to try to make up through strategy. I mean, obviously, Brian Mercurio has been the class of the field all night and will continue to be the class of the field if things keep up this way. So they're going to have to try maybe do an undercut, maybe, you know, do something like that. But right now, it's looking nothing but good for the 41 car.
So I'm just scanning through the field here as we have an interesting development happening. Yeah, a couple spots behind these guys. Timmy Pacioli is still making his way around the field. Will Rogers and Joey Stone is going to be the first battle for position as we look a little further back here, 9th and 10th. But again, you're seeing the tires go away on these cars. You got more cars coming off the pit road as we missed Aaron Mulrooney. There you see him coming off a pit road in the old 4. He pit from the top 5 a lap ago, so he's the first driver that was pretty much towards the front of the field to come in and take their tires. So we're going to see if this prompts anybody to take note of that and bring their cars in. But so far, no one really budging just yet. So interesting to see what strategies come into play to see the end of this thing.
And that's what separates the good drivers from the great. You know, how they can cope with the, you know, the tire wear, with the strategy, all that stuff. And that's the big reason why Brian Mercurio is about to compete in the Pro Series. And that's why he has that black pro license under him, is because he's good at that and because he can deal with tire wear and coping with strategy and all that.
Speaking of tire wear, we got to go back to Donovan Strauss in the 45. He has caught Nick Silver for second. And I'm telling you, man, this is one of the most impressive drives to the field I've seen. So Donovan Strauss started 30th up to second, all in green flag conditions. Just behind them, had a little bit of a moment with Arnold Columbia in the 39, kind of locked up going in the corner, but he saves it. But man, I can't say enough about what Donnie's been able to do so far this race. If anyone can take down Mercurio, it's looking like it'd be Donovan Strauss if he can get a caution. And
you think it's fun for us to watch? Imagine how fun it is from his cockpit view. I mean, all race he's just been passing cars left and right, and it's honestly incredible to see.
Some guys can save the tires a lot better than the others, and Donovan Strauss proving why he's one of the best tire managers in this race as he goes to pass Ryan Vargas, still dealing with that rear end damage. Got a couple guys ahead of him battling for position. William Barbagalata in the 54. Then we got Daniel Neneos again earlier involved in that caution. So he's currently sitting in 23rd. And we're going to see just how quick Donovan can dispose of these guys. So we're going to see just how much he can go. And as there you see, Brad Perez has brought his car onto pit road. So interesting stuff. Pits from 14th.
And yeah, and you know, as they say, cream rises at the top, and right now we're seeing excellent proof of that with pro drivers being 1, 2, and this is a testament, to the iRacing ranking system. The fact that they're both pro drivers and, so far been the class of the field just shows that for the most part, iRacing's ranking system does a great job.
Absolutely. So these guys proven why they're some of the best in the business. So while they'll be competing for a spot in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series in just under a week's time on Tuesday, as again, I'm looking around, no other drivers are really coming in, as we got a car in the wall off of turn number 4. Looks like it's the 54 of William Barbagalata as he makes contact, so he's able to keep going. But I think the tires are starting to get to some of these guys, and the strategies are starting to play out. No one is on pit road right now. I don't really see anyone starting to duck off the racetrack. So as soon as some of these guys will come in and get their tires, I think we have one pitting now. Jonathan Palmieri is pitting from the 8th spot in the number 8 car, so he brings that thing onto pit road. Look at the front end damage for him.
A lot of beating and banging, early in this one. And, some of the racing we saw up front we were focusing on, there's probably a ton of that in the back as well. And
there is some racing happening right now, Jared. I'm sorry to cut you off, but man, there's the 9 of Nick Silver, 84 Jake Fisher going at it right now. And there you see the fresh tires. Timmy Patrioni, 86, Aaron Mulrooney blowing right by them. So, and again, Jake Fisher, the point leader, makes his way to the top 3. So as you mentioned before, Jared, the cream rising to the top, especially late in this run.
Yeah, and Jake Fisher, is doing all he can. I'm pretty sure, if things were to end right now, Jake Fisher would still be the champion. It'd be a lot closer, but I believe Jake Fisher would still be the champion. So he just has to keep an eye on Brian Mercurio, keep this distance, kind of doesn't want to let him get too far ahead. And I think he knows what he's doing. I think he's pretty calm about things. He knows he has a fast race car. He's just got to see how cautions fall and how strategy falls for his favor.
Got another car coming on the pit road. The 11 of Chris Heller brings his car in, and we got a lot of guys saying they're pitting. Michael Frisch pitting now. The 20, Peter Akimano says he's pitting now. Brian Mercurio's coming onto the pit lane now. I think Donovan Strauss said he's pitting. Here he comes. Mercurio gets loose as he heads into the pits, but he's able to reel it in. Point leader Jake Fisher is in. As I mentioned, Michael Frisch is in, so the pit window is open, and we're seeing a lot of these guys jumping through it. Will Rogers in the 55, 4-wheel slides in the pit road. Kyle Riley gets to the pit lane. So here come the strategies, and how is this going to play out?
That shake from Brian Mercurio getting in, I'm a little bit worried about that. I feel like that was because he was going a little bit too fast on entry. Hopefully he doesn't get a black flag or a penalty for that.
We have a caution on the speedway. I can't really see where it is, but it comes just as the leaders start to pit. I see the 4 of Leighton Sibile is really slow in turns 1 and 2, and that's where the crash was. Leighton Sibile in the 4. It looks like he just got intent wrecked by Arnold Columbia. So that's interesting. So we'll get you a replay of that once we can get one. But man, that is not very good timing as far as the pit cycle goes. So it's going to be interesting to see where this all shakes out.
Brian Mercurio was able to get both tires on that thing before he left pit road. I'm not sure what iRacing's rule is on that, but Liam Sheen, the pole sitter, has disconnected from this one. So I don't know if he maybe was involved in that accident.
Didn't look like it. I mean, Liam Sheen was just mainly a 2-car wreck. As there you see the replay as Columbia just turns right into Leighton Sibile. So that's going to be interesting to see what race control does because of that. But after it seemed like 2 rapid fire cautions, and looks like that would be the race. It's we had a nice little green flag run, and now we're on our 3rd caution of the race. Yeah,
and that green flag run allowed us to see what these drivers are made of, and certainly looking at the front, Donovan Strauss. I mean, you can't argue that anyone else is faster on the track. Obviously, Brian had a huge lead, but Donovan came from 30th and was running up in 2nd. So really interested to see where he's going to be when the playing field levels out here on this restart.
Absolutely. So everyone's going to have their eyes on him, including Brian Mercurio. So pit stops are underway under caution now. Nick Silver brings the white number 9 onto pit lane. Coming in from the lead, J.D. Laird is also right behind him. Elliot Henderson is in. Joey Stone, Justin Lisenby making his way off of pit road. So all these guys getting their tires, but I think when this all cycles out, Brian Mercurio is going to be back at the front, having pit as soon as the caution came out.
Yeah, I mean, to win a championship, a lot of things have to go your way, and we've seen it over the years, and that might just be one of those things.
Field working their way into corner number 4 under our 3rd caution of the night. Once again, I want to thank everyone for jumping on in and tuning in tonight, wherever you may be watching on STN's YouTube or Twitch channel. Thanks again for joining us for the final round of the VSCRA National Premier Series tonight from the Homestead at Miami Speedway. We will crown a champion tonight as Leighton Stabile is just weaving on the access road in that number 4 car. He does not have a front clip on it anymore. It's heavy damage to that 4 machine. So it looks like he might be bringing that and parking it, but we'll never know. That's got to be at least 5 or 10 minutes of damage, you would say, Jared.
Yeah, it was a hard hit. He's a lap down. He'll hope to maybe do that in increments, that repair. Under caution here, about 2 minutes per lap, minute and a half. So he'll have time, depending on how many caution laps we get, but he'll be hoping that cautions breed cautions in this one.
Bringing the Jesse Little Toughco flooring Camaro into the pit lane, and crew will attend to that car, but they got their work cut out for them if they want to make the 5-minute clock. I don't know why I made that reference, but here we are. But under caution again for the 3rd time tonight, so let's go over the running order as it's being shown right now according to the race results. It still says Nick Silver is going to be your leader, so I'm assuming he was able to get off a pit road before Brian Mercurio was able to pass them on the racetrack. JD Laird is being shown in 2nd in that 23 JDR Graphics Camaro. Right behind them is the aforementioned Brian Mercurio, that low-line racing Mustang heading into turn number 3. Right behind him, Justin Lisenby in the Valvoline Mustang running in 4th. Joey Stone running in 5th. Donovan Strauss, we mentioned. Brian Mercurio has been the dominant car as far as laps led-wise, but Donovan Strauss has been by far the fastest, it seems. So he made his way from 30th to 2nd under green, so he's going to be restarting in 6th. Michael Frisch, another one of the guys, made his way through the entire field almost. Started 32nd, made his way into the top 5, so he's going to find himself in 7th. Warren Rosario 8th, Aaron Mulrooney Jr. in 9th, and Elliot Henderson will round out the top 10. So field, I believe, is on the 1 to go as they will double them up down the back stretch. We'll get ready for the 4th restart of this race.
The first one where Liam Sheen is not going to be commanding the field from. This time it'll be Nick Silver instead with JD Laird to his outside. 2 names that haven't led so far tonight. Brian Mercurio, the dominant car so far tonight, back there in 3rd. Lisenby in 4th, and these guys that haven't been up front all night, they're going to be hungry to stay up there and show what they're made of a little bit, and not let Brian Mercurio just walk away with this one. But Donovan Strauss in 6th, I think he's the guy to watch on this restart.
This year, track weather and everything, nothing's really changed all that much from the start of the race. Still mid-80s everywhere across the board. Winds have died down by 1 mile per hour, so we'll see if that makes a difference. But pace car is off, green flag is back out. It's Silver and Laird leading them. Both drivers get a very good restart as JD Laird is going to hang on the right side of Nick Silver as they head into 1, but Silver going to have the preferred groove on the bottom heading into 1 and clears him.
Yeah, Silver's got about a car length and a half so far. Brian Mercurio sitting back there in 3rd, and Silver's, as they reach onto the backstretch so far, just pulling away kind of a little bit right now from JD Laird.
Battle for 2nd. There's Mercurio diving underneath JD Laird. JD Laird not going to put up a fight, gives it to him, so move Mercurio to 2nd. Joey Stone dealing with Donovan Strauss in that 45, so he's going to lose that spot. Here comes Michael Frisch as well. The 2 hard chargers in this race right behind each other. So move Strauss up to 5th, move Frisch into 6th, and they're still side by side. A guy we haven't mentioned all race, Warren Rosario in the 98, battling with Aaron Mulrooney Jr. That's the battle for 8th, and Mulrooney is going to get the pass done. And Rosario might be sliding back a little further as here comes Elliot Henderson right behind him.
Yeah, Mulrooney's been up there all night in the middle of the action, battling side by side early with Brad Perez and, right there with Warren Rosario. He's having a really solid race so far. And, if we get to that point late in the race, there's a late race restart, I wouldn't be shocked if he tried to make a move to win this thing. Look
at all those space station cars right by each other. Of course, you got Timmy Pacioli right behind them, but then you got Will Rogers right there, Gabe Herschel, Jake Fisher, our point leaders. So these guys might look to build a protective barrier around Jake Fisher if necessary to help him get this championship. But all 3 of those guys proving to be very strong early on as they're trying to slice their way through the top 10.
And just as you mentioned that, protective barrier, he and Elliott Henderson made contact on turn number 2. Nothing came of it. It looked like. I don't see any damage on Fisher's car, but ever since the restart, he's been moving. He was the first car to be waved around the pace car. The situation with the caution and pitting kind of messed up a little bit, but he's recovered well since the restart.
Field has been very single file so far. We kind of expected that after the start we had. Gabe Herschel currently losing the 13th spot to Timmy Pacioli right there. You see towards the back right side of your screen right there. As they head into turn number 3, they're still racing, though. Will Rogers in the 55, diving underneath Elliott Henderson in the 37. Elliott gets back to the throttle quickly, though. He's going to try to hold off Will as they head off of turn 4 down the front.
Yeah, Henderson's been quietly up there so far tonight. Not really making it past the top 10, but still in the mix. If something were to happen in front of him, and he's having a really solid race so far and keeping the car clean. That's what matters.
As we're looking a little bit further ahead in the field, Brian Mercurio has reeled in Nick Silver. You got to think this is only a matter of time as Mercurio looking to go back to the point, looks underneath the 9 of Silver, and we have a caution back straight away, I've been told. And it's Brad Perez in the infield in the 38. Got to see what happened here. We have cars on pit road.
Oh, man, it was the 30 car. The 30 of Daniel Nenny and Brad Perez got together on the backstretch.
It looked like Nenny just got loose off of turn 2, and Brad was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. It didn't look like he hit anything in the infield, just went for a spin. Hopefully that's the case, but nonetheless, that'll bring out caution number 4 here tonight at Homestead.
And that's interesting. Earlier in the race, Brad Perez was running right in front of Jake Fisher, and he got loose in that exact same spot. So he can't really blame the 30 there. It's just unfortunate on colder tires, you have to imagine.
Right there, you see the black and rainbow number 30 right there off of turn 2. Just get a little bit loose and just gets into Perez. And it doesn't take much to upset these cars, especially here. But as I mentioned, it doesn't look like Perez hit anything, so he's able to get that thing slowed down. And that is not easy to do in the grass, especially once you hit the grass, especially as rainy and humid as it's been in South Florida over the last week. Not a lot of grip in the grass, if you will. So good job by Perez to keep that thing off the wall. We got some pit stops going on under caution,
including Jake Fisher, the points leader, came in. Brian Mercurio kind of faked the classic iRacing fake to go into the last second. I don't know if they were tricked by this, but Jake Fisher and Will Rogers have come down to pit road, as well as Elliott Henderson.
Guys that have come in for pitting right now. Brad Perez has just came into his pit stall. You see right there, Michael Frisch is leaving pit road. Another guy that's been very strong. There you see all the space station cars leaving their pit stalls. Will Rogers, Jake Fisher, Elliott Henderson, Joey Stone coming off the pit road. There you see Kyle Riley right behind them. A couple guys behind them as well. Jonathan Taylor, Tristan Hagenstein coming off of pit road. So interesting to see these guys. That really wasn't that long of a run. So you would think they would try to save their tires towards the end just in case there's a green-white checker, but these guys might want to try to make up some spots as we work through this current caution.
Yeah, it might be a strategy thing too. Maybe, in the pre-race notes, they were looking, we're going to pit on this lap, and they figured, why not? Maybe they had an extra stop due to the first, 12, 13 laps being under caution. So maybe they were able to factor that into their equation. And you look at it, the team cars pitted, right? It was Will Rogers and Jake Fisher. So maybe that's part of their plan.
The only one that I didn't see pit out of the Space Station Gaming cars was Gabe Herschel in the 07. So his other teammates came down pit road, but Gabe felt like he didn't really need the tires yet, so he was able to stay out. So we'll go over the running order very briefly. Nick Silver is your leader currently. Brian Mercurio is sitting in second. JD Laird third. Justin Lisenby currently in fourth. Aaron Mulrooney is in fifth. Warren Rosario still managing in sixth in that 98 car. Timmy Pacioli is in seventh. Gabe Herschel, as we mentioned, sitting in eighth. Preston Pardis, good call to him. He was in trouble early on in the race. We mentioned he had quite a bit of damage on that number 90 Camaro, and he finds himself in the top 10. And Donovan Strauss, right behind him, is sitting in 10th right now. So going to be interesting to see how this is going to shake out after this most recent round of pit stops.
Preston Pardis, another Florida native, another guy who did a great job at the SCCA runoffs at Road America a few weeks ago, won the Spec Miata class with an incredible 8th to 1st on the final lap. So shout out to Preston Pardis for that. And yeah, he's kind of been quiet tonight. We haven't really talked about him much. Obviously, of course, Xfinity Series driver, but he's up there in the top 10 right now.
Lots of real racing experience in this field, and it is showing. Some of the best on the sim side of things, some of the best in the real world side of things. And other games too. We got some NASCAR Heat Pros in here with Joey Stone. So a lot of walks and disciplines here in this race going at it. So it's been very fun to see what their strategies are, what they bring to the table in this race. And I believe we have just hit the 1 to go, Jared.
Yeah, and someone that caution was very, very clutch for was Nick Silver. He was hearing the Jaws theme song, looking up and seeing Brian Mercurio in his rear view. So he'll hope that he can maybe pull away on this start, maybe have some competition for Brian from JD, Laird, Lisenby, and Mulrooney. So Nick Silver loved that caution coming out.
Someone get a sponsor for that 9 as well. Just a plain white car, just doing this all out of his own pocket. So you love to see that. So hopefully this with this run, he can maybe get some funding and get some decals on that car and bring some extra speed to it. But doing a good job. Currently the leader right now as they head into turn 3. But again, got Brian Mercurio to his outside. Of course, been the most dominant car so far in the race. This thing is far from over. So we're going to see who's going to take the win and more importantly, who's going to take the championship as we're inching ever so close to lap 100. So pace car is going to be ducking off here momentarily. Again, it's going to be Nick Silver and Brian Mercurio leading them down. But we're going to see who gets the better restart here. Donovan Strauss looks like he was blinking out a little bit back there. Got it going. Pace car is off. Here comes Silver. He is on it. Brian Mercurio is trying to get to the bottom right in front of JD Laird, and it looks like he's going to have it. Front 4 cars, now 5 cars single file, and the first battle is going to be between Warren Rosario and Timmy Pacioli for 6th.
Yeah, Pacioli, we mentioned he's third in points back there. He's recovered well. It wasn't that long ago we were talking about him spinning coming off at, I believe it was turn number 4. So great recovery by him so far to get back up into the top 10.
And look at this, 3 wide, a little bit further on in the back. As we mentioned, the Space Station Gaming cars trying to make their way through the field. Kyle Riley just took him 3 wide as we got one loose. That's Will Rogers. O'Reilly gets loose as well, and he doors Will Rogers. So that is very unfortunate for both of those guys. They keep it straight, but man, we got a crash into turn number 1. It looks like it's Justin Lisenby in the 77. Single car accident, it looks like no one else was really involved, so that'll bring out another caution here. So we'll see if we can grab a replay. It looks like, from what I was able to see, there was some contact between he and Aaron Mulrooney into turn number 1.
And that's because there was contact between Mulrooney and Pacioli right behind him there. It was kind of a chain reaction where Pacioli sent Mulrooney into Lisenby, and that's just unfortunate there for the driver of the 77.
So as we see, we got a replay coming up as Zach digs around for the footage. Got a lot to look at in this one, but yet again, this is typical iRacing. These races will have this fast rapid fire cautions, and you'll have the green flag run, and I think we're on the rapid fire caution period. So as you can see, as you said, Pacioli just gets right into the back of Mulrooney, and that sent him right in to Lisenby. Very, very big, very good awareness by Lisenby there. A lot of drivers maybe would have tried too hard at correcting that, maybe spun it back in the field. He was able to keep that thing up there against the wall where no other drivers get involved. So big shout out to Justin Lisenby for the wherewithal to do that. But we got a crash from the backstretch here. Kyle Riley just got dumped by Will Rogers.
Yeah, they, I was about to mention it after that replay. They tried to wreck once off 4, then they tried to wreck twice. They saved it both times, but Will Rogers definitely not happy with Kyle Riley there. He just spun him out on the backstretch for what happened a few laps ago.
I mean, Kyle Riley, I was hearing on the radio, they were not happy with each other after that incident that we covered a couple laps ago, and Will Rogers just appeared to be tired of what he was saying and just turned him. Didn't do any damage, just kind of turned him and say, hey, I didn't appreciate that. But hopefully that settled the differences between those guys, as Kyle Riley, I think, has finally fallen back to his position in 16th.
I think Riley was trying to find Will Rogers on track to get back up there. He was peeking on the inside of those cars ahead of him. And, to give some credit to Will Rogers, Kyle Riley did initiate that a little bit. He kind of, as he was driving by, kind of swerved next to him a little bit. That's brake checked him a little bit. So, not totally all Will Rogers there, but still, you don't like to see that.
I'm not seeing any penalties being handed out there. See another angle, just perfect pit maneuver by Will Rogers. I mean, he does a great job of making sure Riley doesn't slide and hit anything, and he's able to keep going. But I got to say, message has been sent to both of those guys by the admins of the service that says, hey, knock it off. We got a long race to go. So we're going to see, though, if that plants the seed for any further retaliation later on in the race from one of those two.
Yeah, it's something definitely keep an eye on. Like, we have, 50 laps to go. So, we'll see. Kyle Riley, in the race chat, very, very aggressive toward Will Rogers and what he's typing out there. So yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on as the tempers have not flared between what's the word I'm looking for? Tempers have not calmed down between those two. We'll go with that.
Subsided, I think, is one of the words you were searching for there. But nonetheless, I think they got their grievances aired. So Kyla, as you mentioned, putting a bunch of stuff in there that's maybe not network TV appropriate, but working 2 laps to green now, as we are currently working lap 71 of the scheduled 117 laps in this race to decide a champion. Can't forget, we got 2 drivers gunning for the championship. Brian Mercurio needs to gain 16 points on Jake Fisher to claim the championship. So there you see Nick Silver, our leader, Brian Mercurio right behind him in second. On the outside, looking into the championship. So Mercurio, I would say a must win, but it might be just because we've seen just how strong Jake Fisher has been. So as long as Fisher maybe just sits around the top 5, hovers around the top 10, he might be able to hang on. So Mercurio really needs to press and see if he can get a good finish out of this.
Depends what happens, though, right? I mean, Jake Fisher, he's going to see Brian Mercurio if we get another green flag run leading, and that maybe will put pressure on him, make him go a little bit harder, and could force a mistake out of Jake Fisher. But, I think this won't come down to the wire the last 10, 15, 20 laps.
Absolutely. So it wouldn't surprise me either. We've seen some great finishes over the years at Homestead, and if this thing is any different, we're going to be seeing some great racing towards the latter part of this race. Maybe even a couple of green-white checkers. Who knows? So it might come down to that. Maybe come down to Mercurio and Fisher for the win of this thing. That'd be interesting to see. So got to wait a little bit longer. So work on lap 72. We've just taken the 1 to go signal. We will be going back racing this time by. So let's go ahead and run down your running order really quick while we have a chance. Nick Silver, again, as we mentioned, is your leader. Brian Mercurio second. J.D. Laird right behind them in the 23 in third. Aaron Mulrooney fourth. Timmy Pacioli has done a great job recovering from his early race troubles. He's currently in the top 5. Warren Rosario sixth. Michael Frisch seventh. Donnie Strauss in eighth. Preston Pardis ninth. And Jake Fisher will round out the top 10. There you see the field summary. Only 2 lead changes, 5 cautions for 22 laps. I gotta think that number is going to go up in the closing part of this race, Jared.
Yep, and those lead changes, you can read them off right now. At first, it was Liam Sheen, and then Brian Mercurio overtook him, led the field for a while. That caution came out. Now Nick Silver has the point.
Count them on one hand for those lead changes. Pace car ducks off. Nick Silver, our current leader, gets a great restart. Mercurio and Laird are going to be side by side. It looks like Mercurio might have the speed to get down in front of Laird. Not quite, as Laird hangs on the bottom, but it looks like Mercurio is going to clear him. First battle is right there in your screen between Timmy Pacioli and Aaron Mulrooney. That's the battle for fourth as they remain side by side down the back, and they're fanning out all over the place behind them.
That was a huge clearance there for Mercurio. He was able to get down, and that's the last thing Silver wanted to see as he tries to defend this lead. About 2 car lengths as they come out of turn number 4.
Again, Donovan Strauss very loose coming off of turn 4, just behind them, nearly cleaned out Aaron Mulrooney. So interesting to see what's going to happen there. But middle of the top 10 right here. They are side by side for fourth on back. Pacioli finally is going to clear Mulrooney. We see the 2 hard chargers going at it. Michael Frisch and Donovan Strauss side by side right behind them.
And yeah, Jake Fisher seeing all this happen in front of him is asking them maybe to take it easy a little bit. He's racing for a championship. And speaking of racing for a championship, Brian Mercurio looks like he's taking the lead. He'll clear Silver off of turn number 4.
New leader Brian Mercurio right back to where he's been all race. He's going to lead lap number 75 as they head down into turn number 1. Still side by side, though, for 5th. Donnie Strauss right underneath Mulrooney. So Michael Frisch got shaken out of that. So he's trying to make this 3 wide, but right there is your point leader, Jake Fisher, looking to stay far away from trouble, but looking like he's got some close quarters racing just ahead of him.
Yeah, something that's not helping out. Timmy Pacioli seems to be blinking a little bit. I don't know if that's on my end or what, but yeah, Jake Fisher definitely in the midst of madness right now, but he's keeping the car clean. Only a little bit of damage on that left side, left rear of the car, as he's just hoping to get through this one and have a little bit of luck go his way.
I was seeing that blinking going on by Timmy, too. He's been doing it for the last around like 10 laps. I've noticed it. So it looks like he's good now, but maybe want to check the settings on the internet for him. But it looks like everything's calmed down as he just got overtaken by Donovan Strauss to move Donnie into 4th. And look at this. What a move by Fisher right underneath Pacioli. So move Fisher into the top 5. Michael Frisch looking to follow him through as well.
Yeah, Fish doing a good job staying right behind Jake Fisher as Jake Fisher finally moves up into that top 5, and he's, has his sights set on Brian Mercurio up there, but he's got to take these cars one at a time. He doesn't want to think too far ahead. There's still a lot of race left in this one.
Donovan Strauss not wasting any time either. Just got by the third place car. Now he's looking to set his sights on Nick Silver. So if I'm Brian Mercurio, I would be keeping a close eye on my relative because that 45 is coming.
Most definitely. He knows that too. I mean, these guys race with each other all the time. Donovan Strauss, like I said, another pro driver. He's definitely been closing the door all night. Has a lot of caution have not really gone his way, but now there's some open track in front of him. We'll see how racy he can get in this one.
Absolutely. So again, this thing is far from over at Homestead. But another guy, Michael Frisch, just saw he had a little bit of trouble getting by J.D. Laird, so he just now makes the pass. So you got to think now that we got a couple of cautions here, as we talked about earlier. We might be in another a green flag run stage of the race where this thing could go green for a long time. So you're thinking maybe these guys are looking to save a little bit for the run, or are they just looking to get to the front and quick?
I think all these guys are probably expecting, that there'll be another caution. I mean, it's iRacing, there's close racing everywhere. There's even some tempers flaring. So I think they're expecting another caution. But, I think they're just going to go for it. Brian Mercurio has to go for it. He's going for it all race, and I expect we'll see that. And I want to touch on something. Will Rogers and Kyle Riley are near each other on track right now. So we'll see if the tempers flaring carry over even later into this run.
I just scrolled back to that as Brian Mercurio back to the front here. Donovan Strauss has just taken second, but these guys back here that we're looking at, Will Rogers is very loose. He's got Justin Lisenby right underneath him, but right behind Lisenby, you see Kyle Riley. As for those of you just joining us, Will Rogers and Kyle Riley came to blows under caution, where Will Rogers basically just not wrecked, but just turned Kyle Riley under caution. So there could be some retaliation here, but I mean, if I know Kyle Riley like I think I do, I think that might have been it, but you never know. We'll see what happens here. We got a lot of cars in the wall. What's going on up here? I see a lot of smoke.
Jake Fisher got into Nick Silver there and sent him up the racetrack. I don't know if that caused further damage back out there, but Jake Fisher definitely got into Silver, and that was the cause of that.
Looks like a bit of net code there for Fisher. I'm not seeing, there is a little bit of right front damage to that 84, and there is some front clip damage as well. But man, that's going to be implications there as we have our battle for the lead going into turn number 3. Donovan Strauss in that 45. The run to the front is complete. Move him into the lead after starting 30th on the day. He finally finds himself, I don't want to say the rightful place in the lead, but it seems like this was going to happen inevitably. So move the 45 to the front, the 41 to second. But Jake Fisher right there, 2-point leaders. Brian Mercurio right there is 16 points behind Fisher, the point leader. So this is where the implications start to come into play.
Most certainly. Jake Fisher wants to get up there and get the bonus point for leading a lap, something he hasn't done so far tonight. That'll go a long way, as it looks like Brian Mercurio will get the bonus point for most laps led. So Fisher wants to get up there and negate one of the points by leading a lap himself.
Here it is, guys. Kyle Riley, and look at this gaggle of cars back here. If we can go back there, Zach, look at this. They were just 3 wide off of turn number 4. Riley nearly got loose and slid into Will Rogers, but he's able to save it. Man, these guys are racing very hard. This is all a battle for 14th, right smack in the middle of the field, and these guys are clawing for every position they can get.
And up front, Jake Fisher has overtaken Brian Mercurio in turn number 3. The points leader has overtaken the guy he's competing against tonight for the championship, and it looks like he's put about 2 car lengths on him since he's completed the pass.
Looks like a bad set of tires so far for Mercurio, unless he's in save mode like we talked about earlier. Michael Frisch is able to make the pass to move the 58 into third. And the 2 guys charging their way through the field. Donovan Strauss has taken the lead. Michael Frisch from 32nd has made his way up to third. So plus 30 for each of these guys. So that's a feat in and of itself. Very impressive run by Donovan Strauss and Michael Frisch so far.
We know Mercurio has the speed to stay up there. Maybe it's been changing track position. Maybe he made an adjustment on pit road. But as of right now, he's going backwards at a time where he has to be going forwards.
So I think things have settled down a little bit at the front. I hear, they're wrecking in there, and they are. Arnold Columbia, I think, is involved in that. The front end has been completely ripped off of that car, as well as the hood. Lots of damage to the 39 of Arnold Columbia. Let's see. Oh, wow. This replay is going to be Be a very violent accident off of turn number 4. So to set the scene, it looked like the 54 of William Barbagalata got very loose off of turn 4, and you'll see here he's just going to overcorrect right into Arnold Columbia and send him into the catch fence. Tires meet, and bam, just right flipping off of turn 4. And then he gets hit as well. I couldn't tell who that was. I think that was the 90 of Preston Pardis. So that is tough break for him, but man, what a violent wreck for Arnold Columbia, as he's able to keep that thing going somehow.
Arnold Columbia is okay. The cage was not compromised on that one. It just shows how safe these cars have gotten over the last couple of years, and just really unfortunate. William got under him, overcorrected it right into his path, and just really unfortunate for Columbia.
And that was very reminiscent of Ryan Newman's wreck that we all saw earlier in the year. Here's an onboard from Pardis, gets pretty much landed on right here. So that is didn't look like it gave him too much extra damage, so he might have dodged a bullet, as everyone is coming onto pit road now. Leader Donovan Strauss is in, Fisher. Everybody in this field should be coming in to take tires. So we'll see how many take 2, or if any, and we'll see who wins this race off of pit road. Strauss is in his stall. Mercurio's in, Laird is in, Mulrooney is also in.
And the drivers will be viewing this as their money stop. I mean, 30 laps to go. Maybe there's another caution, a few more cautions, but this right here could be the last one. The drivers know that, and the crews have to be on top of it for this one.
Looks like the 84 is down and away, so he might win the race off of pit road. Jake Fisher, it looks like he's going to beat Donovan Strauss off of pit road. Maybe he does. So put Jake Fisher to the point. Great stop by that crew there. I'm going to see a 14.1 for that stop, but the fastest pit stop was Brian Mercurio with a 13.9. But that doesn't really net him too much of a gain. That puts him back into third. Michael Frisch loses a spot, coming out in fourth. So, but some very evenly matched drivers on the track and very evenly matched pit crews on pit lane. So that's a big win for Jake Fisher off of pit road to get him to lead.
Most certainly. Brian Mercurio had the fastest pit stop, did gain him a spot, and he's going to hope that this run could be a little bit better than the last one, where he saw him drop from first to fourth before the yellow. And I do want to take a quick second to shout out the producer here, Zach, for getting us a great look at that last accident from Preston Pardis is on board. And we're just happy that Arnold Columbia is okay after that one.
Zach Johnson, one of the best in the business, getting the angles and the shots for you guys. So big ups to Zach for doing a great job tonight. But yes, glad to see Arnold Columbia is okay after that very nasty looking incident off of turn number 4. I think his car might still be going. Is he still?
Yeah, he's in the pits right now, repairing some of that optional, maybe mandatory damage. He's a lap down right now. Could see that going up to 2 or 3, depending. That was a hard hit, and the flip couldn't help more. He also could be towing. I'm not sure if he was able to get it back on his wheels or not.
Well, nonetheless, I didn't really see any smoke coming from his car when I saw it drive away. So maybe he can somehow, some way get the thing back out there. But that crew definitely is going to have their work cut out for him if they want to mend that number 39 and get him back out there to get a few extra points for the end of the year. But as we said, Jake Fisher with a clutch pit stop to get him out front, but he's got Donovan Strauss right behind him, and Brian Mercurio, the man he is fighting for the championship, will be restarting in third. So the two guys leading the points will have the inside line. So it's going to be interesting to see what Fisher does on this restart to try to get himself as much separation as he can from Mercurio.
Another interesting point to note is here, back here in 24th and 26th, you have Kyle Raleigh and Will Rogers. Kyle Raleigh put something ominous in the race chat after the caution came out. And now Will Rogers is going to have to get by him if he wants to do that. And we'll see what happens here if anything spills over from last time.
That's usually how it goes, isn't it? Like during a race, two guys have a beef with each other. They just can't get away from each other for the rest of the race. So, and Kyle Riley is also going to have Will Rogers right behind him on this restart on the inside line. They're both Kyle Riley's in 23rd, Rogers 25th. So I think these guys are done beefing, but you never know. So it's could come down. It's the end of the year. Want to get that last shot in, last lap. So who knows what these guys are going to do. But back up front, more important implications are on, as we mentioned, two championship leaders right by each other. Jake Fisher, the point leader, is leading. Brian Mercurio, second in the points, is going to be right behind him. And Brian Mercurio needs to finish ahead of Jake Fisher at all costs. He's only 16 points out of the championship coming into this race. So Brian Mercurio is going to have to pull out all the stops to try to get that 84 behind him and keep him there.
And Jake Fisher, at the very least, has gotten the bonus point for leading a lap, so he'll feel a lot better about that as the pace car is about to pull off into the pits.
Pace car is going to duck off. It's going to be Fisher. It's going to be Strauss leading them down. A good restart for Fisher. Strauss changes lanes before the line to get right in front of Brian Mercurio. Mercurio might have had a chance to send it into the corner there, but these guys are just fanning out all behind them. Side by side for fifth on back, Timmy Pacioli right there, Aaron Mulrooney, JD Laird is back there, Justin Lisenby, and these guys are just side by side everywhere as they head down the back.
Right in front of the leaders here is Willem Barbagletta, who came off pit road from the fixing that damage. Obviously, the last caution was him getting loose.
Oh, Timmy! Timmy self-spins off before. Is he going to save it? No, he overcorrects it. It's a single car incident on the apron. So I don't think we'll have a caution. He's able to get it going. But man, that was almost had that thing saved. Didn't mean to interrupt, Jarrett, but man, that was something by Timmy as we stay green here at Homestead.
Yeah, that could have been horrible. He could have overcorrected it back up into the field, but did a great job to lock it down and only have a single car accident on that one.
Definitely. So back up front, these guys have stayed pretty much single file. The lap car of William Barbagalata gets out of the way, heads down to the pits. And right here, Justin Lisenby just behind these guys, clear enoughs himself on Aaron Mulrooney off of turn 4. I'm not sure if Mulrooney appreciated that. He's going to go right back to his inside. This is the battle for 6th. Mulrooney in the 04, Lisenby in the 77. They've got Gabe Herschel right behind them in the 07. And this might accordion this group back up if these guys stay side by side for too long.
Most definitely. As we see Juan Rosario in top 5 so far in this one. Frisch is kind of giving Mercurio a run for his money, as Brian Mercurio really has fallen off these last 2 runs.
Kind of think they might have accidentally put 4 right sides on Mercurio's car. It just doesn't look like it's handling the way it was early in the race. But yeah, give a call to Juan Rosario. He's had a very clean race so far. He's another probably going to win the hard charger. If we're honest, started 37th. He's up to 5th. So if he keeps this run up, he might have 2 extra bonus points coming his way to cap the year off on a positive note. So very good job by Warren. Hope he can keep that thing clean for the rest of this thing. But meanwhile, they've single filed it out at the front, but towards the back, Joey Stone has just hit the wall off of turn number 4 in that 22 car, bottled up. A guy we haven't talked about really, Andrew Schwartz in that 67 is right there. He might have tagged the back of Joey Stone, but they're all able to keep it going. And Brad Perez is right there as well, was involved in a caution a couple laps ago, or cautions ago, I should say. He's sitting right now in 13th. And
that race car does look pretty clean, so you have to imagine you fix some of that optional damage there. Then we have a spin behind him.
Jonathan Taylor in the 7. That's going to bring out a caution for some reason, but nonetheless, Jonathan Taylor makes a little bit of contact with the wall. It doesn't look like too much contact, so he's able to keep it going, but that'll bring out our latest caution. So that was an interesting call there.
That's an interesting caution. I mean, it was really a one-car incident. I don't see how that's different from the earlier call on the Timmy Pacioli accident, but the call is out nonetheless. And man, it's about to get really interesting.
Really is. I mean, Pacioli stopped moving entirely. Granted, he was on the apron, but Jonathan Taylor just was able to not even miss a beat and keep that thing moving. So interesting call by the officials here at Homestead to bring that out. So that's, as you mentioned, going to be interesting to see what they do now. Do you pit? Do you stay out and save that set of tires? We're going to find out, as it looks like Fisher is staying out. So is Strauss. Mercurio comes in. Oh, no. He's going to lose a lot of track position. 2 other cars come in. So Brian Mercurio is going to fall to at least around 15th or so. This is not good, especially with under 20 or 30 laps to go really now.
And who knows? Maybe Mercurio got faked out there. Maybe he was going to come all along. We'll see. Obviously, it's not ideal. He wanted more cars to come with him, but he will be very far back in the pack once this one restarts.
Oh, man. Your whole season comes down to that call on pit road right there. I'm not sure that was the right one by Mercurio. Plus side, he's going to have a lot more fresher tires than his competition. The bad news is he's got to bring his way through the middle of the pack, and that is where we've seen all the action he doesn't want to be involved in this race. So Brian Mercurio, again, one of our pro drivers in here, he's going to have to put all of his skills to the test to show him why he got it to get this championship, but he's got a tough road ahead of him.
And you mentioned it. Obviously, he has the speed, he has the talent to get right back up there. But it'll come down to the fact if there's going to be drama, if there's going to be wrecks inside of the middle of the field. So obviously, he's hoping for that, and we'll see when they come across the line here where exactly he'll be back there. But Jake Fisher loves seeing that back there.
That is music to Jake Fisher's ears here, and Brian Mercurio coming onto pit road. Really got deked, really. Everyone was looking like Donovan Strauss looked like he was coming in. So did Frisch, but they all peeled off at the last second. And Mercurio thinking if he came in, everyone else would as well. Not the case for the 41. So, again, we say it's like a broken record in every single racing series, both in real life and on the sim, but championship implications right there. So we're going to see just how big of an implication that is for Mercurio and see how far he can make his way up through this field.
Back there in 16th for Brian, so 8th row. We'll see how he can maneuver his way up. Still got 20 laps to go, so a few cautions maybe. He'll find himself back up there towards the front.
Also like to give a big shout out to one of the sponsors for the league. And as you see on the top right corner of your screen, the racingexperts.com, your race for NASCAR, eNASCAR, your place for NASCAR, eNASCAR, and other motorsports news. Visit the Racing Experts or www.racingexperts.com today to go ahead and get your fill of real life and sim racing content. Very good creators for that, including Justin Melillo, great friend of ours here. Always love talking to Justin. Does rage quite a bit when he races against us, but that's all about the character. But yes, very good content over on that website, so give it a visit today if you can get up to date on both real life and sim news. So
he does a great job covering both real life racing and sim racing. Obviously, ton of passion from Justin, and we're very happy to have him on board for tonight's broadcast.
Absolutely. So thanks again to the Racing Experts there, and we're just hitting the one to go here now, Jarrett. So it's coming down to it. The championship will be decided. We just got an interesting storyline get thrown into this thing. So Brian Mercurio, we mentioned, came onto pit lane to get four tires, fresh tires, finds himself back in 16th position, right in the thick of everything. And he's got Leighton Sabile with no front end on his car around him. And Kyle O'Reilly and Will Rogers, he's right in the sandwich of them. They've had their beef throughout this race. But a guy that could possibly follow him up there, we would talk about him a little bit further on in the race. He's been leading to is Nick Silver in that 9 car. He's also going to be restarting 18th. So keep an eye on those guys trying to make their way through the field. But there you see the field summary, 98 of 117 laps, only a handful of lead changes, but it's been pretty clear that passing is hard to come by for some of these guys.
Most definitely. And, Brian has kind of been fading these last few runs, so hopefully he can turn his fortunes around on this one as he tries to go through the pack. Preston Pardis, as of note, has dropped out of the session.
It's a tough break for Preston. Got involved in multiple incidents there. Just been in the wrong place at the wrong time a few times. And we are green. Jake Fisher, great restart. A little bit of a tire spin issue between the guys on the low line. Started with Aaron Mulrooney, and they are 4 wide back here as they're looking to go into turn number 1. As they are just not pulling any punches. Brian Mercurio is right there in the middle of that 41 car with the red spoiler right there is the guy to watch. He's on the freshest tires. He needs to make his way up to the field to get to his championship, and he is on the outside. He needs to dig if he wants to get a chance at this thing.
Bad omen around Brian everywhere you look. Every car around him has damage right now, except for him. He has the cleanest race car from the next 5 or 6 cars around him, and he's digging as they come up forward to try to make up these spots with only 17 laps to go.
Already +4 on that restart for Mercurio. He's going to have to pick off a lot more. He's got 2 cars side by side right in front of him. He's got Austin Moore in the 24, Elliott Henderson in the 37, looking to go 3 wide down the back. And this is where he's got to go, man. You see him forcing the 3 wide down there. He can't waste any time before eventually the leaders start to break away.
Not only does he have to go, he has to hope that Fisher falls back a few spots. It looks like he's doing it up there as Frisch is on the inside of him and try to put him back in the third number place as they head off into turn number 1.
And while all that was going on, we're paying attention to Brian Mercurio, but up front, Donovan Strauss has passed Jake Fisher, and so has Michael Frisch. So these guys are looking to pull away. Fisher is aware of the situation. He knows he just pretty much has to finish ahead of Mercurio, and he is your champion. But he's going to see if he can keep the tires on it. But how about Warren Rosario on the 98 right there? He's moved up to 4th. This is the highest he's been all race. Again, started way back in 37th, and he finds himself just outside the podium spot. So great run for him. As a little further back, you see almost contact there between Mulrooney and Lisenby, and Andrew Schwartz is right there as well. Schwartz, another guy who's driven up from the 30s, started 30s up to 7th. So a lot of guys coming from the back to the front, and they find themselves in contention at the right time, right at the end of this thing.
And you notice a lot of these cars that have been hard charging all race, they have the cleanest race cars of those around them. So that's a big factor in how they've been able to charge up through the field so far in this one, as we had in 14 laps to go.
Speaking of charging, here comes Brian Mercurio. Again, restarted 16th. He's already halfway to the lead. He's currently in, well, now moving to 7th. He was just in 8th, but he just passed Justin Lisenby for 7th. And he has Andrew Schwartz right in his sights as well. So it is not over yet by a long shot. Last lap for Brian Mercurio was a 33.318, and for leader Donovan Strauss a 33.337. So he's right there on pace with those guys, but does he have enough time as Andrew lets him go for 6th? Welcome back, Jarrett. Jared having a little bit of technical difficulties on his mic, but meanwhile, we are still focused right on that 41 car. There he goes, right underneath Aaron Mulrooney. Again, this is the battle for 5th, so Mercurio, that might have been the call for him to get this championship. Currently in the top 5. He has a decent amount of time left. He's got the best tires and the most speed, so he's worked his way into the top 5, got his eyes set on Warren Rosario in that 98. But his goal is to get ahead of the car, 2 cars ahead of him, and that's that 84 of Jake Fisher as they make their way down the back straightaway here. In the corner number 3, still very tight, just ahead of him, Michael Frisch. You see all over the back of Jake Fisher, just ahead as Mercurio with a big head of steam off of turn number 4, glances underneath Warren Rosario, so move Brian Mercurio into 4th. This thing is not over yet. Still has a lot of ground to make up, but that 41 is getting fast at the right time. As we see just ahead, Frisch has to check up right on the back of Fisher, and that's going to let Mercurio get to his inside. And here we go. The battle is on for the championship. Mercurio goes to the bottom, passes Frisch. Frisch lets him go wisely. And now we're going to see just how much time Brian Mercurio has to get to the front here.
And you know, Brian Mercurio is begging for a caution to come out. He wants Jake Fisher to have to be put into a situation where things can happen around him. It's just Brian being ahead of him by 1 spot is not enough for him to win the title tonight. Definitely
not. So we're going to need a lot more to happen as they're getting very close behind them. Near contact between Michael Frisch and Jake Fisher. So that is a little too close for comfort for Jake. And Jake is going to let him go, but he can't lose too many spots. The lead is not that big for him, so he has to find a way to keep these guys behind him. He can't afford to lose any more spots with the amount of time Mercurio's making up.
Definitely not. And Fisher, a spot car between him, Michael Frisch. Fisher's maybe a little bit nervous. Warren Rosario has gaining speed all night, and he's also now right behind Fisher. Maybe that extra pit stop for Mercurio will do the difference for the championship hunt.
Mercurio almost a full 0.3 faster than our leader, Donovan Strauss. That last time by, he is digging right now. He is currently eating into that lead. It's currently 0.2 of a second. You got to think it's only a matter of time before Mercurio makes the pass. But Jake Fisher should be a little concerned right now. As you mentioned, he can't let these guys by. Warren Rosario and Aaron Mulrooney are getting bigger and bigger in that rearview mirror for the 84.
Most definitely. Only now 8 laps to go for the championship as Brian Mercurio is looking to make the move for the lead up front to put even more pressure on Fisher.
Fender underneath Donovan Strauss down the back. Donovan tries to keep him down to the bottom, but it's not going to be enough. I think this is only a matter of time. Pins him to the inside. Mercurio kind of sends it in. Strauss pinches him a little bit. Mercurio does not want to see this. So Donovan Strauss not going to give this lead up early. These two guys have been the most dominant cars in this whole field. But Donovan Strauss going to make Brian Mercurio earn it here tonight. Nothing easy as they head into turns 1 and 2.
And if Brian Mercurio were to finish first, he would get 48 points regarding bonus. If Fisher finishes 4th, he'll get 38 points. The difference in points is 16. So that 1st and 4th is not enough of a margin for Brian Mercurio to win the title tonight.
Definitely not. So Mercurio needs to get to the front, and he needs Jake Fisher to lose more spots. We're coming up on 6 laps to go, and it looks like Jake has had enough of a cushion there. The only thing that would throw a big curveball into this is if we have a late caution to see at the end. There it is, right on cue. Is the caution. A big wreck off of turn number 4. Ryan Vargas is in it. Arnold Columbia is in it. William Barbagalata and Jonathan Palmieri, I think, was in that. But man, that is not what these leaders, especially the championship contenders, wanted to see. As my timing was absolutely impeccable on that.
Yeah, I feel like you threw the caution on that one. I don't know.
I might as well have. But oh man, it looks like when we get a replay of this thing, it's another case of an overcorrect. It was Jonathan Palmieri getting a little bit of contact in 3 and 4. It looked like from the 6 of Ryan Vargas, just barely. But we've seen all night, Jared. I mean, the overcorrects have been potent in this race. And we're going to see another one here. Watch the 6 and the 8. And bam, right there. Just another big overcorrect sends both the 8 and the 6 into the wall. And just a very, very bad wreck avoidance there. I got to say, got to be honest there, but that could have been only a 2-car wreck. Instead, it was about a 6-car wreck. So not what these guys wanted to see this late in the race, especially.
I'm interested to see what these drivers do in terms of the pit situation here. You have to think Brian Mercurio is going to stay out. He was only one of 4 or 5 cars that pitted on that last caution. Jake Fisher stays out and then gets freight trumped by a bunch of people who pit and have fresher tires. That could be detrimental to his chances. We'll see what happens.
Donovan Strauss looking like he's going in, but he faked last time, and they are coming in. So 1 car stays out, multiple cars stay out. Warren Rosario stays out. It looks like also Nick Silver is going to stay out. Will Rogers has stayed out. Timmy Pacioli stays out. Tristan Hagenstein stays out. Chad Michael stays out. The list goes on and on. But our championship contenders elect to come in and take tires. So this is going to bunch them right back to where they were. And they've got a bunch of old tire drivers ahead of them. So this is about to get chaotic on this restart here.
Most definitely. I think this championship could come down to what lane you started. If you start on the outside, they check up going into the corner, turn 1, and the other championship contender starts on the bottom. That could be the difference right there. So we'll have to see.
I'm thinking it's such a tough call, really. I mean, if you're Jake, you're still leading in the points. I mean, you'd like to win the race, but just seeing how many guys stayed out, I think 11 cars stayed out on that last caution. So you got to think he might be kicking himself, because I mean, he could have just stayed out there and stayed up in front of these guys and made all the guys that are on tires come through the minefield, for lack of a better term, to see if they can. But man, it's going to be really interesting as Brian Mercurio does beat Jake Fisher off of pit road. But as you mentioned earlier, he's going to need Jake to lose a few more spots to have a realistic shot at this title.
And I understand the logic. Maybe Jake Fisher, if he stays out, what if there's 3 green white checkers and those cars with tires are able to get up to him? So I think it's safe to pit. Obviously, right now he's won the championship, and him pitting kind of keeps him on the same page as Mercurio. So we'll see how it plays out. We'll probably restart here with a green white checkered. But yeah, definitely, this is where the drivers earn their money here, and this is where championships are won and championships are lost.
Absolutely, you said it best there. And fitting, it's going to come down to these guys starting nose to tail on this restart. So Mercurio's going to restart 14th. Jake Fisher's going to restart 16th. And again, give a call to our leader right here, the 98 of Warren Rosario. Again, he by far has come through the entire field. There's, I think, 39 cars took the green flag in this race. Warren started 37th and finds himself in the lead. So it says he started 38th in our graphic. It says he started 37th in the sim. But nonetheless, a great drive by Warren Rosario. And he's got a chance to win this thing now.
Yes, for sure. And, he's been gaining speed all night. Something very interesting to note about the points I'm looking at right now. Brian Mercurio has only started 10 races in this one. He finds himself 16 points behind. And Jake Fisher started all 12. So, maybe that has a part in it. And it's impressive, very impressive that Mercurio, even with starting 2 less races, is that close in the points.
Definitely. So that is a bunch of different stories playing out at the end of this race. There you see, there's Jake Fisher right there in the 84. Got his teammate just ahead of him. So it's going to be interesting here. We've said it. I'm pretty sure we've said the word interesting about 9,000 times tonight, but this race has been just that. A lot of storylines playing out at the end of this thing. A champion is going to be crowned, but this thing, even though we're at a green white checkered, it says 3 laps to go up there now. This thing is far far from over. We have one shot at a green-white checkered in this, and anything can happen on this restart. So what's going to happen? None of us know, but all of us better strap in as hard as these guys are strapped into their seats, because this is about to get crazy. The tires versus the no tires as we work our way down the back now.
To beat a dead horse one final time, this will get interesting here, as there was one attempt at a green-white checkered. Jake Fisher lining up immediately behind Mercurio, as you know. This is the money lap right here. This is it. This is where these drivers separate themselves and win championships.
Absolutely. So just to lay out what these two guys have to go through potentially, we have Leighton Sabile. We've mentioned him a few times, not for very good reasons in this race. His car, there's barely anything left of that 4 car, but he finds himself in 11th right there. So he's going to be another obstacle these guys have to get around, as well as a bunch of guys that have been laps down most of the race. They're up here as well in contention. So we're going to see a lot of guys fighting for their first wins as well. So here we go. Pace car is off. Green, white, checkered for the championship. Green flag is out. Warren Rosario leads them. Gets a great start on Nick Silver, but pay attention. Look at this. They're fanning out to the apron. Leighton Sabile blocks Donovan Strauss to the apron. Where's our championship contenders? Mercurio is to the outside. He's taking everybody 3 wide. He's ahead of our championship leader off of 2. He's making up spots left and right down the back.
Fisher spun his tires on the start. Mercurio now has about 6-7 cars between he and Fisher. That could be the difference.
Definitely is. Fisher trying to scramble for spots, but look at Mercurio. No other guy I'd rather see in front of him than Michael Frisch as they come to the white flag. 1 lap to go. Nick Silver has taken the lead, and here they come into turn number 1. There's races happening all over the place as they head through 1 and 2.
Fisher has to be sweating. As Mercurio could get up there 4 wide for second place, it looks like, for a second.
Down the back straightaway, Michael Frisch making it 3 wide for the lead. A 3-car battle for the front, but look at Brian Mercurio. He's in this thing. He could very much win into turn number 3. It's going to be Michael Frisch ducking underneath everybody. Donovan Strauss gets loose. Michael Frisch comes off of turn from this. So we got to see where this is going to stack up, but I think Jake Fisher might have gotten enough to hold him off, as they're spinning him out on the backstretch right now. So I think that means that Jake Fisher is your 2020 champion. But man, what a finish to decide this thing.
Michael Frisch and that bar visuals super did a great job there on that final lap. Made it 3 wide and 3. That was a very exciting finish, and it's a shame that the championship run kind of put that on the back burner. That was interesting. Here we go. Kyle Riley gets into Will Rogers after the flag.
You had to have seen that coming. At least it was at the end. But Michael Frisch going to do some donuts and smack the wall for good measure. What a great drive for him at the end of that, getting his way up through that calamity to win the race. But Jake Fisher is sitting at the entrance to pit road, getting ready to do some celebrating of his own. They are double checking the points. But while we're going through that, I guess we can get a quick finishing order update here as we see Michael Frisch doing his donuts. Timmy Pacioli, a great run for him, finishing second. We mentioned that he was on the outside, probably too far out of the points, but he still gets a solid podium showing today. Brian Mercurio, I think, is just going to fall just short of a title here, but he gave it a valiant effort at the end. He will finish third. Nick Silver, a good run today in fourth. Warren Rosario, again, I think he's probably got the Hard Charger Award locked up, going from 37th to 5th to end this thing. And there you see the rest of the top 10. Will Rogers, Tristan Hagenstein, Jake Fisher, Justin Lisby, Chad Michaels, Aaron Mulrooney, and Eric Kepf, a good run. He will round out the top 12.
That was in there. 13th, Andrew Schwartz. 14th, Jonathan Taylor. 15th, Gabe Herschel. 14th, Austin Moore. 17th, Brad Perez. 18th, Elliot Henderson. 19th, Joey Stone. JD Laird running up front for a lot. Comes home 20th. Brandon Bukurski, 21st. Kyle Riley, 22nd. Austin Drake, 23rd. And Christopher Miller in 24th.
Again, going further on down the list, Leighton Sabile will restart at 11th. He drops all the way back to 25th. Ryan Vargas, disappointing run for him, finishing 26th, the final car in the lead lap. Donovan Strauss, we saw spinning off of turn 4, trying to get as much spots as he can. He will bring that number 45 Supra home in 27th. Jonathan Bell, Peter Akimano, William Barbagaletta will finish 30th. Jonathan Palmieri, 31st. Preston Pardis, another frustrating run that we need to talk about tonight. Just been involved in pretty much every other wreck, it seems. He'll finish 32nd. Arnold Columbia, another rough go of it tonight, will finish 33rd. Daniel Nanny will finish 34th. Liam Sheen, our pole sitter, disconnecting early, will finish 35th. And Chase Alvey, 82 laps down, will come home in 36th.
Something important to mention, the top 25 in points are locked in for next season. And on that cart line tonight was Ryan Vargas, and him finishing 26th might mean he's good to be locked in for next season. We'll have to double check that once the points get finalized out here.
We'll go over our last couple of finishers here. Caleb Morrissey will finish 37th, and Nick Sanchez will round out the field in 38th. But I think it is now official here. Jake Fisher coming to the start-finish line. He's going to get ready to do some donuts with his teammates. Your 2020 VSCRA National Premier Series champion, Jake Fisher, in a thrilling race. But I think we're going to get some post-race interviews coming up. We will, I believe, we will start with our race winner, Michael Frisch, if we can pull him on in here. There he is. There he goes. There he is. Michael Frisch, you won the race, man. Tell us about it.
I did. I can't believe I actually pulled that off. The strategy pulled through with 2 tires. We overcome Donnie and Brian there. That's what we wanted to pull out of pits, and it paid off. And, it was kind of just like a sea of cars. They just moved all out of my way.
Definitely looked that way, man. You were very strong all race. We talked about it at length throughout the race. You came from the back as well as pretty much everybody that finished up towards the front here. Guys were going 4, 5 wide, it seemed, on that restart, but you found the right spots to get it done, man. So what did you think was the key factor in you finding your way through all the gaps that you needed to fill in that restart?
The iRacing gods, honestly. It just pulled through. I was just shooting the gaps and hoping they were staying open and just not lifting.
So you win this race tonight, and you think that'll bring you some momentum into FTF for this weekend, to race for a championship there, perhaps?
I'd like to have momentum carry. That's what we do. But we'll see what happens.
Definitely. So, Michael, congratulations, man. Anyone you want to shout out or thank for your fantastic performance tonight?
Bar Visuals, as always. You guys know him, and just all my boys back at the shop who are support me throughout the week. That's all.
Well, there we go. Michael Frisch, your winner here tonight. Congratulations, bud. We'll look forward to talking to you again on Saturday, man. Good luck in that as well.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you up in the booth.
Congrats, Michael.
All right, and I think we'll bring in our second place finisher. I think Jarrett's with Timmy Pacioli.
Yes.
Timmy, how you doing? You had a great run tonight. Some drama at the start. We saw you get loose off 4, wreck a little bit. How did you recover there for the second place finish?
Well, honestly, I'm shocked I was able to keep it up in second. I was a little worried on that last restart on old tires. I knew the guys were going to have a lot fresher tires than me, and it was really hard to save tires, and tires meant everything tonight. So, but I was able to recover pretty nicely, I'd say. I thought I was going to steal it at the end, and I don't know. I don't really know. I didn't really have a good feel of the track the whole night, and just put me up front at the end and was able to pull that out of my butt. So I'll take it.
You brought it home. You brought home third in the points. What can you say, kind of recap the season and how you saw it from your perspective?
This season was definitely a learning season. I felt like we had a lot of good racing, a lot of competitive racing. Obviously I think there's some bumps to work out as far as the league goes going forward, but overall I'd say it was a great success for its first season and being a new league. But I mean, hats off to Elliot and everybody else that put on the show all season. They really did a good job, this being their first time really doing a league all together. So I really enjoyed it. I'd really encourage anybody who watches these broadcasts and wants to run to come and run. It's a lot of fun. I know it was a little rough at the start there, but what you saw in the middle of the race is more of what we like to do around here. So a lot of fun.
Awesome. Sean, any questions for him?
Timmy, I'm very proud of you, man. I'm a huge fan. I wanted you to be in contention because hopefully those 2 guys ahead of you in the points would have just wrecked on lap 1 and you'd have ran away with it. But nonetheless, you had a fantastic finish for this thing. Congrats on the second. Anyone you want to thank for your personal success in this race, in this league as well?
I definitely want to thank everybody at DL Performance. We all work together in practice for this league most nights of the week. We try to get ready, and those guys we really lean on each other a lot and help each other out. Shout out to Grit Esports. I just recently joined them, and I was happy to give them a good run, good showing this final half of the season with their colors on the car. And thanks to Elliot and everybody else again for putting on this show. It was a lot of fun, and I hope to see everybody in the spring.
Definitely, man. Well, congrats, Timmy. Good job tonight, and I look forward to seeing you in the spring as well. So, great run overall. Great job, and congrats once again.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
All right, I think we're going to bring in our third place finisher now and runner up in the point standings. There he is, Brian Mercurio. Brian, so close, man. You had the tires to do it at the end, just couldn't quite weave your way enough through traffic at the end there through the minefield, really. Go ahead and tell us what your thought process was coming out of pit road for that final stop and that last restart. Couldn't have said it better myself. So we're gonna see what Brian has to say a little bit later on. But while he's working all that out, what do you say?
I believe that was a windstorm he found himself in the middle of.
I think so. I mean, the tropical storm Ada is gone now, so we're gonna see what the deal with that was. But I guess while Brian's getting that worked out, let's see if we can bring our champion Jake Fisher into the booth here. So we'll go ahead and drag him on up in. Jake, you got us?
Yes, sir.
Well, you're the champ, man. 2020 series champ. It was a heck of a race. You had a lot of attrition, a lot of nail biting, I'm sure, going on behind the wheel of that 84 car. So tell us about your journey to this championship here tonight.
Well, tonight was I just kind of came into this thing just looking to complete a race. I mean, you can't put too much pressure on yourself and get yourself psyched out. So kind of coming into tonight, it was just finish up front and keep the fenders on it. And it's exactly what we did. I felt like I was pretty good at conserving tires. So when we had the long runs, I felt like, maybe I wasn't the fastest car, but I was able to put myself in a pretty good position to hold track position coming to pit stops. And just managing from there on, we got those cautions, and I just had to get up on it on the restarts and get it done. So.
Seemed like it, man. So you had a lot of attrition happening on those final pit stops. A lot of guys faking coming in, a lot of guys staying out. So were you at all, nervous? What was going through your mind on that last restart, thinking, man, there's a lot of slower cars ahead of us. We got to be extremely careful, but you got to be aggressive at the same time.
Yeah. Well, when we got that caution, I had thought that Brian had run out of sets of tires, so I figured it was going to be myself, Donnie, and Frisch come in and Brian would stay out, but I guess he had an extra set. So as soon as we pitted, I kind of knew I saw Warren stay out in the 98, he stayed out, and then I saw people stay out behind him, and I knew it was just going to be a matter of who could cut through the field and hopefully not get wadded up by anybody. But yeah, just kind of the same thing as I approach in the race, just kind of go out there and make sure I don't hit anybody and hope that nobody hits me and do my best.
Jake, for a big part of the race, we saw Brian Mercurio. Looks like he was running away with it. How did you mentally cope with that and kind of keep going and make sure, you still had a fight in that one?
Well, I knew that, I had about a 16-point pad coming into this race and, maybe give or take 5 bonus points that Brian could get if he got the pole and led all the laps and did everything he had to do. So knowing that in the end, maybe 11 points, I could keep on him just running up front. I figured being in the top 8 would keep me pretty safe, and anything further into the front would just be more of a safety net. So, when I took that first long green flag run and he kind of checked out, I think I got up to 3rd or 4th and was pretty content with just settling in and riding. And then we got a couple of yellows that skewed that strategy a bit.
Awesome. Sean, anything else?
Man, couldn't have said it better myself. You played the strategy just right at the end. You did what you need to do. So again, we've been asking everybody who you want to thank for this season and this championship run that you made tonight.
Well, just starting off the bat, we're going to thank Space Station Gaming and Will Rogers. Everybody over there has been great to work with, trying to introduce them to the world of NASCAR and eNASCAR. So it's been great to have them on board along with all of our partners, Champion, Raven, Scuff Gaming, Steel Series, AK Racing, Sean Duras, Holiday, Unit, Will Rogers, and everybody over there that helps put this program together. Hopefully this is the start of some very big things to come, but it's a pretty nice solid check mark to bring the championship home.
I would say a championship is good at any point in time. So again, congratulations, Jake. Heck of a drive tonight. And I just wish you could have brought that thing to the pits without too much damage after everyone wrecked you at the same time after winning. But
yeah, I hear you.
But nonetheless, man, great job tonight. Enjoy that championship. I look forward to seeing you back in next time.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Have a good one.
All right, so I think, Jared, I think we have Brian Mercurio back. I think you want to chase him down. Brian, are you in your windstorm still? Can you hear us?
Hello. I apologize about that. Blame NVIDIA RTX voice for that one.
Brian, for a large part of this race, you were the class of the field. Knowing you had to do very well in that night's race to win the championship. How did you guard against complacency when you're that far ahead of the field in that first green flag run?
Really just kind of try to set in, log into your own pace, just kind of run your own race. A lot of the times when you get those quick cautions and then you get a few laps green, you tend to get a run because everyone's going to be a little conservative. So just trying to run my own race. I knew for a lot of it, I didn't quite have the pace that I wanted to. I was burning my tires a little more than I wanted to, but just kind of trying to check out and run my own race for a little bit there.
All of us have been seeing you sim race for a while, and we're all so stoked for you, start the Pro Series the next few weeks here. How does tonight kind of set you up to go on that Pro Series run?
Well, I think hopefully if we have a better driving car for the Pro Series, I'll do a little bit better. I'd say we're definitely a little bit tight tonight, definitely tighter than I would want to be in an environment like a Pro Series race. But we do go here to Homestead Miami Raceway, so definitely excited for that. It's the last race of the season, so granted we're in a fixed setup, different weather conditions, but still experience at the track is always good, regardless of what setup it's on or whatever. So I've just been trying to run the B car as much as I can, just trying to get as many laps under my belt as I can.
And what do you have to say about the season? Come up second, finish behind a very formidable opponent in Jake Fisher. Were you worried about the points at all? Or were you just trying to go out there and do the best you could and hope it fell your way?
I knew it was going to be definitely quite the long shot after Phoenix, after I got involved in an accident there late in the race and really just finished poorly. So I knew either something would have to happen to Jake or I'd have to be on an alternate strategy and it pay off for me. I think it might have worked out later in the race there when I was on fresher tires than everybody. But for the most part, I was just kind of trying to run my own race. I knew Jake was always going to be at least a top 5 contender, if not better. So something either had to happen to him or me to be on a strategy, and it just didn't play out tonight.
Awesome. Sean, you got anything?
I can't really add much to it, man. You had a great race, charged through the field, one of the most dominant cars throughout the race. Just had that caution come out. When you watch the broadcast back, you might be a little mad at me because I literally called the caution. I said, man, it would really stink if this came out. And then sure enough, right as I ended that sentence, it came out. But nonetheless, Brian, you're awesome. So one last thing I am curious about. So in the Pro Series, how are you thinking your chances are with your team? You guys think you got a good enough speed to kind of make it into that eNASCAR Coke Series when it's all said and done?
I definitely think so. For a lot of the Road to Pro Series, especially in the back half of the year, we were kind of short-staffed on the guys who are working on our Road to Pro stuff. We have some guys who focus on our NIS stuff, but now that NIS is over, they can start focusing their attention on our Pro Series efforts. I got myself and my teammate Blade Witt. We're both going to be competing, representing low-line racing. So I think we're good. You really got to have the confidence. This is my first time I even ever attempted Road to Pro. The fact that I even made it to pros, just an accomplishment of itself. Even if I don't make it to Coke out of this, just being able to compete in a series like the Pro Series is such an honor and a prestige that I've already gotten in my career. So I just got to go in with it with the most positive mindset. Hope everything works out. I'm confident in it, but we just got to see how everything shakes out.
I definitely say that if you can make it up to the upper echelon of sim racing at any time, you're doing something right. So you guys did really well throughout the whole Road to Pro season, and hopefully you guys can bring that momentum into the Pro Series. Good luck to you and your teammates, but great run tonight here. But go get them in the Pro Series, man. We want to see you up in the big time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, you guys, for commentating here. Zach for putting on the broadcast, Elliot, and everyone for admitting and putting on every race and the entire season. It was a lot of fun. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Brian. Again, great run tonight. And I think this will about close our coverage here. So, Jared, anything you want to add to tonight before we sign off?
What a great race that was. I mean, we had races up front, race in the middle of the pack, and of course, the championship battle got really tight. And, what more could you ask for?
Absolutely. So we have crowned a champion. Jake is your current champion. Jake Fisher in the 84. Great drive for him tonight. Great drive for everybody in the point standings that were eligible tonight. So saw some great action. So for Zach Johnson, Jarrett Mackey, I'm Sean Butler, and on behalf of everyone here at STN, thank you very much for tuning in. Whether you're on the YouTube, on the Twitch, follow, subscribe, be sure to keep in touch. We'll have some more content for you guys coming on the way throughout each season. But thanks again for joining, everybody. Hope you have a great night, and we will catch you guys next time.